The following podcast contains naughty language and ridiculous situations. Listener discretion is advised.
Well, yesterday we lost one of a really fine director in Penny Marshall, who directed Big, and she cracked the $100 million mark for first time for a female director, which is outstanding. And she also directed one of my favorite, if not my favorite, baseball movies, In a League of Their Own. She was a spectacular, funny woman, very funny on Laverne and Shirley, a real talented, married a meathead, so she was a real A-plus person. But you know what? Christmas is just around the corner, and I hope everybody's going to get what they want. This coming Tuesday is going to be Christmas. Hope you all get what you want. I hope I get what I want, and but fuck all that. Welcome to Trick or Treat Radio.
Welcome all you little zombies. You're listening to Trick or Treat Radio, starring the Deadites.
Welcome to episode 334 of Trick or Treat Radio. Trick or Treat Radio is a phantasmagorical spin kick straight through the heart of pop culture, navigated by the Deadites. The Deadites are the world's greatest electroshock band. We destroy monsters, we drink booze, we win championship belts, and we watch 2 movies in December.
Fucking tired, Johnny.
Because of the movies? Come on.
It's one more fucking thing. But
You're
it's,
sitting down.
An extra 90 minutes a week.
That's a little more than fucking 90
Well,
minutes.
one of them
sometimes.
was 90 minutes.
Yeah, Indonesian 90 minutes.
Well, the Indonesian film wasn't that bad.
Yeah, well, listen.
You're sitting down anyway.
Yeah.
That's how it happens.
Yeah, and then you fall asleep.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been doing that in traffic lately. That's bad.
What?
You've been
Yeah.
falling asleep behind the wheel?
Yeah.
How many hours you sleep a night?
Like in the
on
day?
average.
Like 2.
What the fuck? You can't do that.
Yeah, I've been doing it for about.
That's why you're not healthy.
Well, that's not why I'm not healthy. It's
Well, everybody's lighting up at the pot shop down the street where he lives.
it's like a
That's
symptom,
part
not
of
the
it.
cause.
That's got to be part of it.
But no, but I'm falling asleep in the daytime. Usually it's after midnight I fall asleep in cars.
You
But
can't do that.
No, it's bad.
Why do you get so little sleep?
I was running around, man.
Running around. It's till 4 a.m. You're running around.
I'm doing stuff. I got all kinds of things.
You're just a busy person, aren't you?
No. You gotta take a step back.
I know.
You need to sit down and watch more movies so you can get more sleep.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be thanking me.
Thank you, Johnny. Johnny, can we go to the movies? We go to those nice chairs that you like so much?
Sure. I actually just booked 2 reservations to go see movies in the next week.
That'll
Oh,
help me sleep.
whoopie-doo.
That'll help me sleep.
All right, so we have a guest. So why don't we go ahead and jump into things here? So he doesn't, I want to introduce the guest first. But so Dynamo, just to let you know, he's running a little bit late. He should be here in just a little bit. So if you don't hear the dulcet tones of Mr. Mars, that's why. But he'll be here soon. But MZ more than makes up for it
Oh, yeah, right.
with his DSLs.
Leave my DSLs out of this.
I want to know. They're going to be involved.
All right, so we are now joined
Fuck you.
by he's been a friend of the show for a long time. You've heard his voice on air several times. He leaves us some amazing voicemails, and he's very thoughtful when it comes to film. And also, Raven Shadow, he just made the journey to the Dirty NC.
Ooh.
So
North Kakalaki.
North Kakalaki. We're now joined by our boy Nathan Cotton Coy Vance Duke.
Hello.
What's up, Cody?
Not much. How are y'all doing today?
Doing well, man. We will just, if you guys want, you can just call him Cody. Unless you want, you can call him Nathan Cotton Coy Vance Duke the whole time. It's up to you.
Whatever works.
Yeah. Rachel, what are you going to call him?
My friend. How's that? How's that, Johnny?
I don't know.
My friend.
It's a little,
Me.
yeah.
right?
I'm
It's
calling
fine.
him Codeine.
All right.
Cody.
No, that wasn't one of the options.
Yeah, that wasn't one of the
Well,
options.
I don't give a shit what you guys say.
Sucks.
Codeine. I'm calling you Codeine.
Wow.
So on tonight's show, we did mention it is December double feature cram jam. Therefore, we're doing 2 flicks. Those 2 flicks: Leprechaun Returns from director Steven Kostanski, a member of Astron 6. And then we're going to follow it up with an Indonesian film called Satan's Slaves. And looking forward to talking about both of these films. And Satan's Slaves, by the way, is a Shudder exclusive here in the States anyways. And it is directed, we'll find out more about Joko Anwar, but he's a pretty prolific and well-renowned director in Indonesia. And this is the first film I've seen of his. So interested to dive into those. Excited to have Cody on board to get his perspective. But Cody, let us know. I don't know what's been going on in your neck of the woods. How are things in North Kakalaki, as it were?
Oh, things are good. Just finally slowed down here a little bit. We moved about midsummer, and things are just finally coming down to a place where can kind of get into the groove of things. Found I'm in the dog training business now.
Oh, are you?
Ooh, really?
As a matter of fact. So it's I had been in the sort of the retail slot for a little while, but found a spot out here, and things are kind of evening out and making sense. I have time for Leprechaun movies and Indonesian possession movies and all kinds of good stuff now.
Well, excellent. I'll have to maybe if I need some training for my doggo, I'll bring him down to North Carolina. We'll hang out with Cody
Absolutely.
for a bit.
Ship him down this way.
So I know you've been on the Cult of Muscle.
Yes, sir.
Have you been on other shows aside from that? Because that's the only one I've listened to that I've heard you on.
Honestly, that's the only real show.
Period.
Basically, I was on the Death Rattle. Aaron did
DRA.
Death Rattle Movie Club for a little while.
That's right.
I was on a couple of those, but this is my in terms of like official shows. This is only after Cult of Muscle. This is my first one.
All right. I forgot about the Death Rattle Movie Club. Man, that was awesome. I never was a participant, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe Mars might have been. But I remember our boy DRA, Death Rattle Arizona.
That's right.
Shout out.
Yeah, big shout out. We haven't had him on in about 5 or 6 years.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
I miss that dude.
I know. That dude's awesome. So, very cool. Well, we'll try to take it easy on you, Cody. No guarantees, but obviously if you can hang if you can hang with
I'm still learning the ropes and all.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll train you just like you train dogs.
Ooh, yeah.
That's right.
Now you wear the leash.
MZ, you got that whistle?
Yeah.
Give him a treat. Give him a treat.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Go pee outside.
We'll teach him to go on a pad.
Yeah.
I've lived in rural areas long enough, and now again in a rural area.
Yep.
That peeing outside is just that's second nature at this point.
It's fair. It's fun though. I enjoy it.
No, you like peeing out a fucking screen windows.
Listen, don't embarrass me in front of Cody, okay? Listen, that was one time that happened, and it was under the influence, and the lady suggested I do that. 'cause we
One
didn't
time is more than no time.
Listen, there was some fucked up things going on, and I didn't want to go upstairs and see my lady friend's father and mother, so we figured we'd just stay in the basement and kind of ride things out till morning came.
Jesus Christ.
There was no bottles or anything like that?
Wasn't
You
there a
didn't think of that?
bathtub?
No, it was a basement.
It was a basement window. You piss up.
I'm young. Check the ceilings, Aries. I'll tell you that much. But no, it's one of those like you'd fold, like crank. You'd like turn it, like pull down. You can't see this on the radio, but like
Yeah, what?
yeah, like, it'd be like picture like
We're here and we don't understand what he's
Yeah.
doing.
like a bay window, like in school. You
Okay.
turn it and it would like move open, like
Oh, you mean like that crank?
yeah.
The crank and it opens the windows like the slats.
Exactly.
Okay, I know what he's talking about.
Yeah,
Boy,
thank you.
you an ass.
Listen, Cody, you've been fucked up, right? you're from North Carolina, right? You get fucked up down there, right?
Well, I don't think he's from North Carolina.
Where you from?
I'm from Texas.
Yeah, so you motherfuckers get fucked up in Texas, right? That's for damn sure. All right, so thank you.
Holy shit! Only steers and steers come from Texas.
Okay, good save, Monster Zero. Thank you. That's good. I had no way I was going to go with that one. But you've been under the influence, say,
Sure.
not behind a wheel, but behind walls, right? And,
Absolutely.
And maybe if you're just under a certain influence, maybe you don't want to see your lady friend's parents.
Yeah. No, this perspective, I will say, the details that have come in now
Thank you.
make this. I understand that much more.
Thank you.
Whereas it sounded like you were just goaded into peeing onto a.
No.
Now I sort of, still ridiculous.
Well,
But
fair.
I understand that much more now.
Thank you.
Here, come here. I have this electric fence I want you to piss on.
Well, if he could avoid talking to your dad, maybe he would.
I know Aries is dead. Yeah, too. I'd much rather piss out a window.
So in the chat room, we got Riku hanging out. He says, "Woo, I'm on time."
Bambaleo.
We also have Leanna, two people we
Nice.
haven't seen in a while. So welcome, you two. Leanna says, "I'm here. I've seen Satan's Slaves. It's okay. Plot's predictable, but the acting is at least good. I did watch Black Christmas for the first time this year. So
Nice.
which one? The original or
Better
the
be the
remake?
original.
Remake's good too.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've actually never seen it, but I hear a lot of people rep for it.
Yeah, no, I'll
Really?
get on board with that. CDR is the person who I think of as leading the Black Christmas remake train, and
Yeah.
I'll get right there behind him.
Really?
That movie fucking rocks. Yes.
Nah, I've seen it. I've seen it. I hated it. The original is just so great.
I don't think he was disparaging the original. He just
No.
no.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think
Original is better, but I'm all for remakes that don't really bear any kind of resemblance to the original, though.
Yeah.
But it's just a nice bad taste Christmas movie.
I think also remakes. I've upgraded my status on remakes and thinking that I think remakes count for films that I feel warranted. Say a film like, for me, Toolbox Murders. I think Toolbox Murders is a mediocre film at best, the original. Have a remake for that? Okay. Willard, I think, is a mediocre film. And then the
Yeah.
Crispin Glover joint that came out around 2001, 2002 was pretty good. I did enjoy that.
So he softened a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it's part of my my new outlook in life with the new year approaching.
What is your new outlook?
I'm gonna be far more understanding of people.
Wow.
Wow.
And I'm
Fucking
gonna
breaking
Hey, I'm
news.
talking. The year's not over yet.
Oh, true.
Of people or remakes? It sounds like you were softening your stances on remakes. And
People make remakes.
that's
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Yeah.
People make remakes. So
And
why
remakes
would
make shit.
What's going on here?
Remakes and remakes make shit.
Wow.
How
like
about,
this
how
new
about, how
Aladdin-
about that, Raven Shadow?
Just
How
like
about
this
that?
new Aladdin film that's coming out with Will Smith. Fuck Will Smith. Oh, I fucking
Wait, did you
can't.
see what he looks like in it?
Yeah,
saw it.
yeah. Looks like somebody took a big camel turd on his chin.
Jesus.
Oh, it looks awful. Fuck him. Fuck Will Smith.
Wow.
Fuck the Will Smith.
Yeah.
You're gonna fuck his ass to make him humble? Jesus.
And fuck the B. Brian Blair too, while we're at it. I hate Will Smith. I really
Why do
do.
you whoa. Why do you hate him?
Oh, he's just a terrible actor. He really is.
I mean, he's Will Smith.
He's a movie star.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, for all the wrong reasons. It's because he sucks and he's in shitty movies.
No.
Ugh.
Exactly. Except for he was in one good film. Not that because of his performance. He was in one good film. 6 Degrees of Separation. He was good in that. Not that
Well,
movie's
that
good.
was before he was a movie star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before his ass got to his head.
His
ass
ass
got to
got
his head?
to his head.
Yeah.
All right, let me jot that down somewhere.
Yeah. I'll put that in the fortune cookie for you later on, Wolfie, okay? Oh, I just can't stand him. Men in
fine.
Black, Wild Wild West,
That was not
Ali. Fuck those movies.
Jeez.
Wow.
Suicide
Lord.
Squad.
Cody, what do you think of Will Smith?
I don't really.
You don't really
I
think
don't
about
love him.
Good
He's a-
man.
no, I spend just so little time considering Will Smith.
it.
Good
He's like
man.
a crypto Scientologist, which isn't great. But otherwise, like I don't really like anybody that has a big social media brand, which is sort of a later development for him. But otherwise, he's just another guy that's in movies. So I don't spend a lot of time fretting about what Will Smith is in or isn't. So
Yeah, but every
he welcomed all
fucking
of us to
ass.
Miami.
Every asshole in Hollywood swaddles his balls like he's like the greatest thing since sliced
Waddles
bread.
his balls.
Yeah.
That's right, MZ. Let's call the police right now.
Do it.
You know what? Let's do
do
it.
it.
Let's
We'll
put a
it on
raid.
we'll put it on the air.
Put a raid
Yeah.
on Will Smith's house.
Yeah. Hello,
And
It's
then-
high time. It's high time we alerted the authorities. There's-
Let's get Bob Mueller after this asshole.
Yeah, right,
Right.
right. I mean, his wife is a good actress. I don't mind her, but those two fucking kids of his. Oh God.
Wowzers.
have you
They should have
his
ended up
wife's-
in a condom.
have you heard his wife's band,
No.
Yes, I have.
No.
Wicked Wisdom?
Yeah.
Wicked Wisdom.
Yes.
No, I don't know
She's in
anything
a
about
metal
it.
band, MC.
Metal?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I'm surprised you haven't
They-
heard it.
We
They
talked
were
about-
at
Is there a song called "Oh Hell No"? Independence Day, the worst fucking movie ever made.
It's not the worst
It
movie
is
ever made.
absolutely the worst movie ever made, and I will scream from the mountaintops singing that.
Wait, hold on. You're gonna scream?
Yeah. You
Wow.
haven't heard me scream yet.
I gotta play some.
Wicked Wisdom.
Yeah, I gotta play some Wicked Wisdom.
Wicked
Here's
Wisdom.
if there's any
Wicked
song you might have heard,
Wisdom.
this is probably it. So let me play a little.
Is it a
bit.
cover or?
No, I don't think it's original. So this is Jada Pinkett Smith singing in her metal band.
Oh shit!
I think we talked about this before.
I think we did. Yeah, it was a while ago.
While back.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
MZ is
Okay.
like-
Well, I've always liked Jada Pinkett,
yep.
but I gotta tell you, man, she does not fit this music. Her voice. I mean, A for effort, no doubt. but
You guys wearing a Thundercats t-shirt in the band.
Yeah.
The band is fine. She's no,
Yeah.
she doesn't belong.
yeah, it's lacking. But I give her A for effort. I mean, you have to give her A for effort. She's married to Will Smith for Christ's sake.
Jesus Christ.
Oh God, that fucking
He's
moron.
not the only one-trick pony in Hollywood that they bow over.
Oh, I know that. I know that.
So why you got such a
Chris-
hard on for him?
Chris fucking Pratt. He's another one I can't.
No,
stomach.
I love Chris
Yeah.
Pratt.
Fuck Chris Pratt.
No way.
Fuck him in the asshole with a big
Whoa,
rubber
whoa,
dick.
whoa,
Whoa.
No. He is not like Will Smith. You can't put them in this. What have you seen Chris Pratt in that you don't like?
Everything.
I knew it fucking
Well,
was going to say
name
that.
name them.
Yes.
Millions of
Jurassic
movies.
World.
Okay,
Is that
well
the name of it? Jurassic
yeah,
World.
well, those aren't great.
Yeah.
it's not a
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Did you see Guardians of the Galaxy?
1 and 2. Yes.
And you don't think he's good?
I don't think he's good. I think the movies are good. I think he sucks.
Have you ever seen Parks and Rec?
No.
I'm actually going
Never.
through. I'm on the 5th season right now, and I fucking love him in that.
Yeah, that's where he shines.
Yeah, he is amazing in it. He's so funny.
I've never seen a single episode of Parks and Recreation, but those Jurassic Park movies can all burn in hell.
Yeah. Not to get on too much of a soapbox, but oh my God, the Jurassic World movies. One is worse than the next. They are horrible. But I kind of turned on Chris Pratt when I saw an Instagram post by him where he was crowing about like cruelty-free meat and about how he like raises his goats and all that kind of stuff. And about how it like is redeeming that he's nice to them before he like chops their heads off and eats them or whatever.
Oh
It's
boy.
like, this is like yuppie bullshit,
Yeah.
basically.
You still like him now, Wolfie?
I fucking hate this.
Yeah,
this
that's
dickhead.
what I
No.
figured.
Yeah.
That's what I
I
thought.
call the cops on him too.
Kick his ass.
Let's call the cops.
Now,
All right.
see, I don't know anything about that.
Actually, hold
I
on.
just-
I'm going to call the cops right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me call the cops.
All right.
enough about this. We got to get them after Will Smith and Chris Pratt.
We have a direct hotline to most local law authorities.
Yeah, most, yes.
Most, yeah.
We're contacting the authority, not the authorities.
Oh shit! Like Apollo at midnight.
Oh boy.
Ed Rooney.
All right. Dynamo Mars. What do you think of Will Smith and Chris Pratt?
Answer the
What about
question.
him?
Oh shit, he's here. I thought he was coming in.
No, he's on Skype. We're now joined by Dynamo Mars.
Hey, dude.
Hey, buddy.
MZ wants to call the police on Will Smith and Chris Pratt.
For what now?
For shitty movies.
He thinks Will Smith is the biggest. What is he? A ball swaggler? What'd you say? What'd you say? What's that?
No, everyone swaddles his balls.
Everyone in Hollywood swaggles his
Swaddles.
balls.
Not
Swaddles.
swoggles.
Hornswoggle.
And Independence Day is the worst movie of all time.
Is he on the show? Like,
Thank you.
Did we wake you
like
from
we
a nap,
definitely
Mars?
watched Leprechaun Origins one time. What?
Did we wake you from a nap?
No, I just am just typically indifferent. You usually probably just don't notice because I'm there.
You are hiding off camera most times. Mars, say hello to Nathan Cotton Coy Vance Duke.
Hey, buddy.
Hello, sir.
How you doing? You sound
I'm all
crystal
right.
clear.
Well, excellent. Very good.
So, is there a plan to talk about this movies? Because I want to talk about Leprechaun.
Only if we can only talk about Leprechaun if Tiny's on the show.
Oh, well, then I'm going to go to bed then because I have no interest in talking about Satan's Slave.
Oh man, he's lucky. He gets
Really?
to go to bed.
Yeah,
Oh man, okay.
I knew you'd like it because it was boring.
Yep. See? Come back, Mars.
Come back. Talk about burying the lead, Jesus.
Seriously. Well, I got fucking Will Smith swoggles balls in one ear.
No, we didn't say swoggle. Swaddle.
Swaddle.
What does
How do you
swaddle mean?
how do you spell that?
SWADDLE.
SWA.
SWA.
Yeah.
Demonstrate that for me.
All right, come in the bathroom.
But what
with
does
me.
Chris Pratt have to do with any of this?
He thinks he sucks too.
What has he seen him in even?
Every what do you say? Everything.
The only thing I you know the Jurassic World movies.
So he was in one fucking movie and that's your litness?
No.
Like, did you see Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yes, I already went through this with Wolfie.
And you thought that he was bad in that?
He could have been better.
You're a fucking idiot.
And also, well, he brought up Parks and Recreation, which I haven't seen, so I can't say that I've seen everything. I didn't even
That's
know he
another
was in
strike against him.
But I give Chris Pratt a little bit more leeway because he's got a much longer career ahead of him as far as age. As far as age goes, I mean, he's much younger than Will Smith. I think Will Smith has churned out so much shit. Yes.
I would love it if you stopped talking.
Well, you're not going to love it too much because I'm going to keep on talking. I just think Will Smith it puts out shit after shit after shit. He's just horrible.
All right, I'm gonna listen. Do you realize that you come on this show every week and distill the virtues of the worst fucking movies of all time?
That's your opinion.
So's this yours. But
all right, so then what's the problem?
Because you sound like a dummy, and I'm just trying to.
I sound like a dummy.
You.
That's very second grade
why,
of you.
I mean, that's not why, but I mean.
You sound like a dummy.
Yeah, well, that's
you big dummy.
But.
Excuse me, you're the one spouting off for swaddling balls, and he's the one who sounds like a dummy.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Monster Zero.
Yes.
What if Will Smith? What if he had been in Butt Crack?
His breakout performance.
How would Butt Crack suffer were Will Smith in it, or Psychos in Love?
You know what? That's a good question. I think those movies are just too good for him.
Wow.
That's
Too good for him.
Those movies are just too good for him.
You're being outrageous because you know how.
No, I'm not being outrageous. This is how I've felt this about Will Smith for years and years and years.
Wow.
What if he plays Hightower in a Police Academy remake?
Oh shit. What if he played jazz in a new Transformers movie?
I just have to surround that idea in my head for a second, and have that swim around in my head for a while. I got to think about that for a minute.
Oh,
That might actually be
flowers and shit.
That might actually.
He
be
already
pretty funny.
got him to come around on Will Smith already.
That might actually be pretty funny.
Is there any way I can talk to one of your supervisors at work and orchestrate a way for you to fall down?
Well, you do know one of his supervisors, Mars.
That's true.
No.
Well, he's not
Like
my
just-
supervisor.
Oh, he's a supervisor?
He's a.
Just Tanya Harding you on the way into the egg aisle.
Yeah, he's the supervisor of the drivers. He has nothing to do with what I do.
Oh, well, maybe you can talk to your supervisor.
Who is the supervisor of the overweight men that fall down? Talk to.
All right, let me catch up with the chat room. Leanna says, Jesus Christ, MZ, what are you, the Rush Limbaugh of Hollywood? And Evil
When you fell down, did the announcement go clean up an aisle idiotic?
That might be an episode title. Let's see.
What Corny say?
Corny says, did Aries forget to pick Mars up? And Leanna says, so should we get MZ a shit list? Number 1, didn't like Lost Boys. Number 2, hates Will Smith. Number 3, hates Chris Pratt.
Yep.
Number 4, regularly extols the virtues of shitty B movies.
And I always will.
No. These are not shitty B movies. These are shitty like W movies.
W movies get love too.
These are the fucking worst movies that I've ever seen, and I'm on Trick or Treat Radio. We watched fucking Greystone or whatever it's called.
Greystone Park.
We watched
With
fucking
Oliver
Dear
Stone.
God No. We watched Leprechaun Origins.
Yeah.
I think I picked it.
Yeah. So who are you to tell anybody what's good to watch,
Well,
or
I
what
hadn't
should be,
seen it.
or what should be watched?
Well, I hadn't seen it. You can't blame me for not. This is movies that you. Well, I bet you've probably not. Like, I bet you're judging Will Smith off Independence Day and The Fresh Prince. Like, you probably haven't seen any of his movies, but.
When we first moved out this way, down to North Carolina, we did not have the internet for a good while. So I was sort of was just sort of stuck with the podcast that I had on my phone. I downloaded the Dear God No episode again, and probably like 20 times. I just walked around my house saying, "Don't be a fucking lightweight," which is an underrated Monster Zero soundbite.
I can't listen to any of those old episodes. Like, I just can't. Like, maybe there's this weird incestuous thing if you go back and watch the CryptoCast, like, and see. Like,
Well, no one can go back and do that, Mars.
Right, it's fair. Thanks. Like, where I'm basically imitating Monster Zero, being like an idiot that can't work technology and is really dumb. Then at some point, a perfectly reasonable businessman like Michael Ravenshadow
Thank you.
started being an idiot and can't work technology. So I feel like I was imitating Monster Zero, who's imitating Michael Ravenshadow, me imitating Monster Zero. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. Like, I need to Cody pick up. Let's start a show. The cultish of muscle-ish.
It's imitation inception.
Yeah.
What
Right,
episode
I know.
which episode number was the Dear God No episode?
It's like 78 or something like that, maybe. I can look it
Wow,
up.
that long ago, huh?
Yeah, it was a while ago. Yeah, I'll look it up and see. We still got to do the follow-up movie.
I want to
No,
do
we
that.
don't.
I would see that.
I was in a movie this weekend.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, you had chocolate
Yeah.
sauce all over you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was real life blood. I wish it was chocolate. Yes.
One sec,
I
Mars. Episode 76. Just wanted to get that out there if anyone wants to
Good
hear.
call.
So,
Good call of good guess. Whoever
Close.
got that close. Yeah.
so yeah,
maybe
tell us
go-
about your experience.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be in. So Skip Shays movie Seeds is so done. I think it's already been submitted to film festivals, but he needed to add something, and he was lucky enough to let me be part of what he added.
He was lucky enough to have you.
I was lucky enough. Sorry. Yeah, no, I got to work with like an incredible special effects guy, which is the one thing that two of the films I have in common. They otherwise couldn't be. They're both pretty, I think, edgy in totally different ways. Like considering the film that we're all in of Brian's is about a snuff film making factory.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a genre swap, modern retelling of the Christ story. And it also involves like a apple orchard, which the apples make people tell the truth. So I was a victim of the truth apples. That was my small role, and it was Skip.
So did
was
you tell
very
everyone
happy
how
with
many?
me.
Did you tell everyone how many dicks you sucked? Is that what?
That's public knowledge. But yeah, it was great. Skip runs a good show. Like, it was so fast. Like that's what was like different about it than the other 3 movie sets that I've been on. It was so fucking fast. Like, they have everything down to like an art, and he already sent me my scene all edited together, so I got to see how terrible I am. It was great. The movie looks great. I'm awful. I'm gonna ruin it.
Well, we can't wait to see how terrible you really are, Mars.
Yeah, no,
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's bad. It's funny because I had rehearsed the scene not really knowing that I was going to be like under truth serum, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it. So in my head, it played very differently than when I sat down and did it. And I felt like I was able to kind of like, I mean, like it's definitely like, it's funny if you watch it itself, it seems a lot like, overacting, but I mean, like, how do you know to fucking like to fight your own words? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the thing that fucking ruins it for me is I do this thing in real life, this like really pretentious thing when I sit at a bar and grab a drink. It's a thing that I saw Vincent Price do once, and like bring his arms up to like his like cross his arms, and like without fucking thinking it, because I'm at a bar, I do that. So I'm like, oh god.
Yeah, but if Vincent Price did it, that can't be all that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I look like a hobo, so it just looks out of place. Like, I mean, I really am not. I wasn't happy with me at all. But I've never, and this is no slight on Brian or any of the other directors that I've worked with, but I've never really been directed before. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that. It's like wrestling. Like I feel like, I'm learning a different skill set. Like I came into some of the other movies I'm in, like, we need you to hit somebody, or we need you to fall down the stairs, or you know what I mean? Like, so that shit I already did anyway. Like this was something that I've never done that took me way out of my comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I was unhappy with my end of the finished product, I think it looks so fucking good you won't even notice.
Well, you know,
like.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're in good company, Mars. I mean, because a lot of people who act in films, whether independent or professional, they always have qualms about their performance in front of the camera, and it doesn't really hit them until much later after the shoot is over. I mean, I felt like that numerous times, and you feel like that too. So, I mean, what you're feeling is really nothing new to anybody. I mean, you're going to feel that way. You're always going to think,
Will
what if I
can't
did
even
this?
watch his own movies.
Oh man.
No, he can't. I can't even watch his movies. So I mean so you got to have that floating around in your head. You're always going to think that you could have done something different. You could have blocked yourself a certain way, or said a line a certain way, a little bit differently.
Yeah.
You're in good company. Trust me on that.
What I like about Skip is that he's not like precious about his dialogue. And when I kind of got there and saw it blocked out, I realized that I was able to like do more and say less. But it was I felt like it was a really hard role. But it was like, I don't know, like I'm more happy with it being with me doing a bad job than I would be if it had turned out how I thought it was going to and been, I guess, better in my mind because I did something I never would have done. You know what I mean? Like I was just going to do it like kind of, like it played in my head like a mob scene, and it had all these other subtleties. It basically was blocked out like a mob scene, but then you added this like supernatural element that, is not at all like what I had thought it was going to be, and it wasn't through lack of, me giving the right tools. It was lack of my understanding of kind of what was going on. So, I just am really happy at this stage of the game that I'm able to do things that I wouldn't have been able to do, or that I wouldn't have done. You know what I mean? Like, because it's very easy to be comfortable. Like I am about 300 words away from finishing my first prose work, which I've never written. Like I've only ever written scripts and songs and I guess shitty goth poetry. So, like I don't know how it is, but I never would have done that before. You know what I mean? So, I think that, 90% of the time I wish I was dead. And that's not going to change anytime soon, but it's enlightening or heartening to at this stage of the game be asked to do, because I would be honored to hold a boom mic. So, or just write, the intro to a book, or even like be the guy that staples the pages of a book at this stage of the game, of my washed upness. But
I almost held a boom mic for that shoot.
Really?
Yeah, Skip actually, I guess he had lost his sound guy, and he reached out to me and asked me if I'd ever done it, and I told him I hadn't, and he's like, "Oh, we have all the equipment. All you gotta do is just come, and I'll tell you what to do." And but he ended up, I guess there was a guy who was going to be an extra who had did it before, and he's like, "Oh man, I'm sorry," but he's like, "I'd rather have you not drive out here if So yeah, it was
that would have been great.
Almost on set with you.
I would have felt more comfortable, but Pantophobe.
Oh yeah. Was she in the scene with you?
We didn't act opposite each other, but she was there. No, what's funny is that we set up a whole scene at one point, and like we filmed all the establishing shots with all the people standing behind us.
Yep.
And then while they were setting up again, they kind of just wandered away doing their own thing over there to like craft services, and me and Skip like killed it on the first take. It was fucking awesome, and nobody had come back. Like there was like nobody behind us.
Yeah.
So it's just like Skip, who's directing and kind of editing in his head and doing all these things, like trying to figure out his own lines, just overlooked in everybody, all the cameramen, everybody else, like that, all the heavies had left the room. So it's great. It's great to see Pantophobe. She is a phenomenal actress.
Yep.
She is still she like, it's easy to say she looks good on camera, but like when she walks in a room, she really has it. Like she's so quiet and so like, reserved, but she's like really like such a striking presence and really owns a room. And it was great to be in a room with her and like, get to just talk to her in between and be, so that was great. And Skip and I, we realized on film could look like we could be brothers, though he's much handsomer. So, it was great, and all the guys were great. I was really impressed with. I'll look up his last name, but the FX guy was Skippy, and he's worked on a bunch of stuff that we've seen, and he was just great and a pro, and all the crew was great, and everybody, and like Skip taught the guy who did sound didn't know how to use that particular gear. You know what I mean? And like. Just like no stress, no going, no whatever else. Like I was, there was a Raven Shadow reference at one point, which made me fucking die though. It was amazing.
Nice.
Because there was a character called Cardinal Simbaldi. It's more Italian than that, and my Irish ways couldn't get it out as Italian. And from the other room, Pantophobe said, "Pretend you're Raven Shadow," and Skip said, "No." Don't do that.
Well, because that would have meant you went outside to have a cigarette.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, no, it was great. It was really like I you can always tell when I'm really moved by the amount of rambling that I'm doing. I couldn't believe he asked me, and he was legit. Like, he's a no bullshit guy, you know. So if he wasn't happy with me, he would tell me he wasn't happy with me, you know. So it was really a great experience, and I hope to work with him and you know, again. So
Yeah.
he's real great. I can't wait to have him on to talk about it, because we've seen at least parts of his movies and they look great, right? This thing looks fucking awesome. Like, it's black and white. He has this incredible in one of the scenes in where you saw my face bloody there. This is great. Like, Panther Glide shot. Like, this thing looks like $1 million. He was busting out that app that you showed him to get some like quick pickup stuff.
Filmic
Mostly,
Pro,
like,
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Like this looks like, you know, even though it's got a C actor like me, this looks like a A double plus picture. This is a beautiful.
That
looking
grade's a
movie.
little high for you.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I didn't say aesthetically.
I was looking forward to the movie anyways, but now that you got a scene in it, you know, like, obviously I can't wait to see it. So yeah, we'll definitely have to have Skip back on when he's ready to talk about it, and
Sure.
you know, I can't wait to be able to see it. So yeah, it's cool, man.
If any of you or any other actors out there within the sound of my voice have the opportunity to be on a Skip Shea show, like, take it, because you know, I guarantee you that you're going to learn a lot through watching, and you're going to have a great. One of the things that I disliked about playing at the Lucky Dog at the end was I felt like I didn't get to make art, because I spent so much time worrying about the shit that I didn't have to worry about. Skip allows you to do what you're there to do. Like, there's no other fucking muss and fuss.
So
there's
you
no
ate
stress. Everything's clean.
you ate red vines and drank Mountain Dew?
Not what I was born to do.
Oh, okay.
What I'm supposed to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it was great. I think, you know, it was I don't know. I think that I'm probably going to use that shot to have somebody make a movie about like a fucking deathmatch wrestler, because that's what I feel like I look like in that glamour shot they took of me.
I'm sure you could get Nick Gage really cheap.
I think I'm going to make it about Nick Gage.
Jesus. A Nick Gage
Like,
biopic? Nice.
All right, no, like, imagine Undisputed, right? Like, so you fucking Nick Gage and you fucking Robert Bank end up in the fucking Steel Clink Alcatraz, and then you have to have fucking real life death matches in jail.
All right, yeah.
And Raven Shadow could be David Arquette.
Wait, Scotty Atkins going to be in this joint too?
Oh, that's a good idea.
All right.
Scotty Atkins can be the Nick Gage's love interest.
All right, we got. I want to move on because we got 2 flicks to talk about. So
yeah,
let me go
Leprechaun.
ahead. We'll do some quick intros. How about that, Raven Shadow? You were in your seat again.
Yeah, we'll be quick.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
It's your 3rd week in
Good
a
job,
row. I'm
Raven
proud
Shadow.
of you, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I am Johnny Wolfenstein, the pencil pusher and producer of media for Trick or Treat Radio, The Deadites, and for the Outside Corner Fantasy Baseball podcast and the 5 Hossman Wrestling podcast. And I'll be very brief. I did something kind of cool earlier today. I was
Nice.
interviewed for a upcoming podcast. So the podcast host that we use, Buzzsprout, has recently started to grow their sort of community. They have a Facebook group, and they also have started their own podcast channel for helping people to get out there and start podcasting and learning more about it. And anyways, they started a new show that actually just dropped today on the 19th of December, and it's called Podcasting in Real Life. And if you're looking for it, it's on the Buzzcast feed. They basically are doing it, curating it kind of like a TV channel where all these different shows happen on it. So you subscribe to the one channel and you get all the shows on their, on their network, so to speak. And so one of the shows they're doing is called Podcasting in Real Life. And so there's like an interview process where you have application process, and they I got picked to be on it. I don't think it was that, probably wasn't that difficult, but yeah, so I did a little interview. It's probably going to be about 45 minutes or so, and it'll probably be dropping in the next few months. I think he recorded a bunch in a row, so I don't know where it's going to slot in, and it was more about sort of the the art of podcasting and why we do it and kind of how we started. So it should be kind of cool for people who, who are fans of this show to check out. And
Nice. That's exciting.
I'll certainly let people know when it drops. But yeah, I did that today, so it was a lot of fun. And he was super helpful. Travis is the guy's name. And for research, he listened to our show, and I apologize profusely.
Wow, that's terrible.
And it was weird because I couldn't swear, so it actually wasn't that difficult. But we get
you don't swear a lot. I don't.
Yeah, we get so used to just being able to say whatever that I was conscious of it, and I almost did it because of that, because I was thinking about it, Yeah. But I didn't. So that was fun. When it's out
awesome,
there,
man.
I'll let people know so you can check it out. And
Do you think Raven Shadow is squirming right now, trying to figure out if you talked about him at all?
I didn't talk about any of you guys. Just to let
He
you know.
was squirming a little bit, though.
Yeah, he's.
That's because he needs a cigarette.
I do, but my chair swivels. Does this?
We also have the immortal gunslinger, singer, and lyricist for the Deadites, Dynamo Mars,
Hello.
who just told his story, so he doesn't need to say anything else. We have the vulgar guru of horror, star of Blood Pig's Fetus, the upcoming Morbid Tales, and Septic, one-time contributor for Horror Hound magazine, Monster Zero.
Howdy, folks.
We have the triumph riding, stage erecting, whiskey drinking, chief of security, the warrior of nor'easters, America's sweetheart, he doesn't like innovator of silence. I got to take that out.
Doesn't like that.
And Rick Rubin's stunt double, Ares, God of War.
I also did something pretty cool this afternoon.
Ooh.
Little different than the other two.
You almost broke down the door to the studio.
I did. Yep. No, I actually I went skeet shooting today this afternoon.
Skeet.
I did that this morning, actually.
No, and I fired a gun that cost more than my truck.
No shit.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Well, how much you? Well, no, never mind.
He's
I'm
got
not
a
gonna
nice
make
truck, though.
Yeah, he does have a nice truck.
Yeah, the gun cost $35,000.
Oh yeah. What is it? Military?
No,
Comes in the bullets.
it's just a beautiful weapon. And let me tell you, it's a little weird holding that gun because your first thought should be, "Where's the barrel pointed?"
What kind of a gun was it?
I could not.
I mean, was it automatic? Was it?
Oh no, it was an over/under shotgun.
Okay.
It shot $100 bills.
Like Rip Taylor. Hey.
Oh no, I mean, it was a custom weapon, so it was beautiful. But
Wow.
like my first thought shouldn't have been like, "Don't scratch it." It should be, "Don't point this at anyone."
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah, no shit.
it just felt wrong holding this weapon, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So that was my afternoon.
Really?
Wow. Look at that.
That's cool.
Ravenshire, you better come out with something here.
I got to get myself a gun.
We also have the chain smoking, hand kissing, baby shaking, lorazepam loving, former comic book reading nerd, the official smoke chamber for Castle Wolfenstein, the pimper promotions, the Italian rapscallion, the professional bullshitter, the cool principal,
Oh, for
the
Christ's
proprietor, the secretary of the sexy
Fuck my life.
speakeasy, Mr. Runtime, the Duke of Degeneracy,
Say his fucking name, will ya?
and the Parisian Bruja himself, Michael
I'm
Ravenshadow.
gonna quit.
That's right, Johnny. Give me another title.
Cancer pickup.
Yeah, no, I also went on a little adventure today.
Oh.
I went to the RMV.
Oh man, that's the fucking
Where you could actually use the gun.
Although
Oh,
you weren't
Jesus,
playing
shut
with
up.
a gun,
No,
guns
no.
weren't present.
You can't say that.
Wait,
you
what
can't
happened?
say that.
Oh, what happened?
He said bring the gun to the R&B. Can't say that.
Why?
You can't say bomb on an airplane.
You can't do it, but why can't you say that? Are they listening?
Yeah.
Was it RMV radio? What the
Of course
fuck?
he wouldn't do that.
W-O-R-M-B.
This is a comedy show, folks. Comedy review show.
That is
Let me know when it's funny.
Yeah, I know, right?
that is like the ninth circle of hell, though, Raven Shadow.
It was actually-
Why do you go to the R&B?
Well, I had to get registration for my company van.
Oh,
So we
okay.
had to go down.
Oh,
and we had
okay.
to get,
So it wasn't
get a-
personal. I gotcha.
No, but here's the thing. Like, I wanted to. My license expires on my birthday this year, so I wanted to kill two birds with one stone.
Do you have AAA?
I do.
You go to the fucking AAA location. It takes you like no time.
That's what I'm thinking about. I'm not doing the real ID. I'm just getting the standard one this year. But you got to have a birth certificate with you. You
Yep.
can't. So you need that. I didn't have it with me, or a passport. And mine's expired.
Yeah, that's
so.
right. Your birthday's coming up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do the real ID.
I don't have time. I'm not gonna have time before the 27th.
Oh, because you're gonna have to redo it when they do the real ID.
Yeah. So you got
Yeah.
to do it in 2020. And
Oh, that's the year you're running for president.
it's true. Yeah. I mean, so I figure. I mean, let me get through fucking 2018 first, and I'm not quite sure.
Right,
we'll
if you'll
make
be
it.
around.
Yeah. So
For everyone that's got Raven Shadow on the death pool.
yeah,
I don't know what the real ID is.
it's pretty much for like transport.
No, we'll talk off air about this.
Well, I'll just. I think I know
Yeah,
what it is.
just DM me.
And I think it's just a standardized form of ID.
So,
The hell was that?
I believe that was me.
It was Aries.
That's the RMV.
don't
fucking joke.
It's a federal ID essentially.
Yeah.
It's a symbol on your driver's license to help you fly.
Yeah,
You know,
I got it down here at the DMV, and it's as far as I know, it's just like another like emblem they put on your driver's license.
Yep.
correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Exactly.
But the thing was, I was in there 15 minutes.
15 minutes?
15 minutes.
Wow. That's amazing. I didn't think that was possible.
I think Aries just shot whiskey
No,
through
I'm
his
sorry.
nose.
I read
A comment.
yeah.
Words.
Luckily, his beard and
You could
mustache soaked up most of the whiskey.
You could
You do them a lot better. I just
No,
read
you
them
you
and
could say
chuckle.
you could say that
Yeah,
one.
yeah, say it.
Okay. Yeah, Raven Shadow, the fucker of IKEA.
Who said that?
Because he won't punch you. Raven Ixnay on the furniture.
I think what the fuck?
That was Leanna, by the
All
way.
right, she's mean to me. Let's go to commercial. I want to let's talk leprechauns.
Did go to commercial.
Leanna says there's no such thing as quick intros on the show. Yes, that is
That's
absolutely true. Leanna says Satan's Slaves, by the way, is not as boring as some of the shit y'all have seen. So Mars, come on.
Wow. What do you think of Will Smith?
I don't know. I thought it was pretty boring, but
Let's see. All right, so yeah, we do need to move on. It's getting late, and we got some flicks to talk about. So I think we got everything in the intro, right? We got everyone. Yeah, we got everyone. All right, so if you guys want to help support the show, there's a few ways you can do so. Head over to trickortreatradio.com. There's an Amazon logo. If you scroll down, you're going to see it. You're going to click on it. It's going to bring you right to Amazon. It puts in our affiliate link. Everything you purchase in that session gets attributed to us. Doesn't cost them any extra, Michael Ravenshadow.
But it helps keep the lights on.
That's right. So if you're going to buy stuff, I know it's getting close to the holidays here, but if you're going to buy some stuff, some last-minute gifts, or if you get some gift cards afterwards, feel free to use our link. We get a little tiny cut of that. It helps pay for the hosting, for the website, all sorts of stuff. So give that a look.
you can buy me presents because I have to return all mine.
There you go. Or you can buy Mars presents, and we'll benefit from that as well.
Yeah.
If you guys want, there's a store. Head on over to trickortreatradio.com. Click on the store, and there you're going to see some digital content. We got the greatest hits of Trick or Treat Radio volumes 1 through 3. We have some other premium content. We got some physical stuff like buttons, and there's a few T-shirts left if you're interested. And also, if you just want to go ahead and donate some money, we got a donate button, PayPal. Just look for that donate button, click on it, and it'll bring you right to the page, and you can give us any denomination you want. And, we still got to pay for that new computer that I haven't set up yet. I actually haven't had any fucking time. I got to upgrade the RAM and install a solid state drive, and I want a good hour just to kind of sit with it, and then I have to install.
But unfortunately, you got to watch movies.
Right. Then I got to install all the software for the show and everything. So I'm going to do it. I have a lot of time off next week, so I'm going to make sure it's done, and hopefully we'll have it in time for next week, or maybe to start the new year. We'll have it ready to go.
You want some help with that? I'll give you a hand.
Oh no, not from you.
I bought some new power tools I can help you install.
with the computer. Okay.
If you
All
need
right.
me, I'll be at home asleep.
Yeah, no shit. All right, so Raven Shadow,
Yeah.
you sit down to watch two movies, but we'll start with Leprechaun Returns. You sit down to watch Leprechaun Returns. What do you do to prepare?
I had to go fucking Christmas shopping, Johnny.
Oh, boy.
I fucking hate it.
Yep.
It was all my, it was my contractually obligation gifts I had to do.
Yep.
So I had to get stuff and get fucking gift cards and scratch tickets and some fucking nips and shit like that. I
That shit all sounds easy.
I don't like doing it. I don't like going to the stores. I don't
That's
like
like one stop.
I don't like envelopes.
Right.
Yeah. Sounds easy.
So I dusted off the Escape from LA soundtrack to really calm me down.
Okay, that
It's a
works.
good soundtrack, right?
Sure.
No.
Come on. Tori Amos is a good track on there.
Yeah, so there's one good track.
Yeah.
The Bad Rod Zombie remix.
And then I put the old Fozzy record on. That was nice. Oh, I didn't
That's
like
nice.
that. Yeah.
Fozzy Osbourne.
Fozzy Osbourne, yeah. So then I just fucking didn't. I don't know. I fucking hate Christmas. I strapped on.
Do you love a scary story? Do you love to dance? The Big Scary Monster Haunts at Midnight is a collection of dark songs about sex, love, death, revenge, and the end of the world. Brought to you by the world's greatest monster hunting electroshock band, the Deadites. Available on iTunes, Google Music, Amazon, CD Baby, and all other digital distribution sites.
This is Matt Kennedy of Astron 6. You might know me as Manborg. You might know me as Father John Sullivan in Father's Day. But what's important right now is that you're listening to Trick or Treat Radio.
I'm Ruby Burble.
What's up, y'all? It's me, the Yeti. Telling all the ladies that they couldn't be more fine and that we should knock those boots like Frankenstein. When I want to get my nerd on, I go to Facebook and I go to the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group. That's the place where I get to talk about all the hip new horror movies, all the cool comics,
Like comics.
RPGs, video games, you name it, we're talking about shit on there. And you could not be any cooler if you were the coolest kid in school. Be the first kid on your block to swing their cock over at the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group. Just go to Facebook, search for Trick or Treat Radio, ask to join, and it's like Nerd Nirvana, baby, without the shotgun blast. This is the Yeti, signing out. See you at the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group.
Follow us on Twitter at The Deadites, TheDeadites.com, and TrickOrTreatRadio.com.
I can tell you I'm never coming back on this show. Especially now that I did that thing you just made me do. Which I will be sending you an invoice for.
All right, we're back on Trick or Treat Radio. How's that go?
I don't know.
All right, we're going to talk about Leprechaun Returns. This flick from 2018 just dropped on VOD. I saw that it was put out by Sci-Fi, so I was surprised that it didn't drop on Sci-Fi first, but maybe they're going the VOD route and then release on Sci-Fi later. But regardless, this film is rated R. It is 86 minutes. It is a comedy fantasy horror, and it is directed by Steven Kostanski from Astron 6, and it is written by Suzanne Keeley, and it stars Taylor Spritler, Pepe Sonuga, Cy Bennett, Lyndon Porso, and Mark Holton.
The legendary Mark Holton.
Mark Holton, absolutely.
I fucking love Mark Holton.
I did kind of mark out for Mark.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, so did I.
And the synopsis: the Leprechaun returns once again.
Jesus, you smell like a goddamn ashtray.
Smell like an ashtray.
Ugh.
Yeah, well, you got fucking problems too.
It's not smelling though. It's not stinking like that.
Oh, thank you.
The Leprechaun returns once again when a group of girls unwillingly awaken him when they tear down a cabin so that they can build a new sorority house. So this flick is a direct sequel to the first Leprechaun, as is a popular, sort of horror trend is to just completely eschew continuity. Those other ones that happened after, they don't fucking matter. So this is a direct sequel to the first one.
Yep.
Obviously, it's about 25 years later, I think they say.
Exactly.
So it does take place 25 years later, and we got some callbacks to the original Leprechaun in this, including what I don't know if it was her actual voice, but Jennifer Aniston maybe had a cameo.
I don't think so, dude.
No.
It was they
lookalike.
got an imitator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was not a fan of performance there.
Yeah, she's busy doing Friends.
No, it was before that. And I was a
Oh, I know.
huge. I'm a huge Jennifer Aniston fan. Aries will tell
Huge?
you. Yeah.
Still?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
No, she's smoking. She's hot. But no, back then I was a huge Jennifer Aniston fan. I mean, she I believe she came up on the Ferris Bueller TV show, the short-lived.
Oh, I remember that.
Ferris Bueller TV show. She
Yeah.
played the sister, I guess.
Yeah, starred Mark Schlatter.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Before she got a nose job. How about that?
And Mark Schlatter was in Police Academy 7, Mission to Moscow.
See, for me,
But I digress.
Wow.
see, I tuned
Are
out.
you for real right now?
Anything Police Academy, he's like the fucking encyclopedia.
My heart was broken when Mahoney wasn't in the Florida one.
Yeah.
It's not worth. I honestly didn't see any of the
Assignment
ones
Miami
that
Beach.
I didn't see any of the ones that Mahoney wasn't in.
That was, and I didn't know till I was in the theater too.
Gutenberg or die, man.
Seriously, they did have Sharon Stone in that one. I know a lot.
All right, so let's jump into this. So I will say I was equally excited and horrified to watch this because I'm such a fan of Steven Kostanski, and I really want this to be so good and not just another bad Leprechaun film.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But it's a Leprechaun film.
Yeah.
So it can't deviate too far from the formula, you
and
know?
especially after the last
Well,
Leprechaun
Origins.
film that we saw. Was,
that was god awful.
That was Jesus Christ.
I wouldn't even call it a Leprechaun film, honestly.
No, I wouldn't even call it a film.
Was that movie better or worse than Independence Day?
Ooh.
Jesus Christ. How much time do we have to talk about this?
Bill
not much
Bill
at all.
Pullman was in Independence Day.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, they count. They count for something.
Is it not to encourage him, but I don't think Independence Day is that good. I know some people at the table might their litmus of how good something is by how popular or how much money it made, but I think it's at its best moments adequate. It's like the best. It's probably the best cast in kind of a garbage movie, but
Oh yeah, no, totally. It's not a great film, but it's not the worst film of all time.
Oh, it's got a decent cast, but I mean, except for Will Smith, but that's about as far as it's got. That's about as far as
It's
it
a
goes.
mindless action movie. It is what it is.
Oh, God.
Did anyone see the sequel?
No. No.
Yeah. All right, so let's.
Yeah,
we're talking about Leprechaun.
Yeah, I had to really hold myself to a certain
So
degree of expectation here
Right.
because, like you said, this is a Leprechaun film, but at the same time, Kostanski is such a good director.
and the last thing he did was The Void.
yeah, which we all hailed and praised highly.
That was our number one film last year, wasn't it? I think so.
Was it?
I'll look
I
it
don't
up, but I'm
remember.
pretty sure it was our number one last year.
But yeah, so yeah, I say it's really hard to keep yourself in check when you realize it's Kostanski
Now-
directing this and.
I like that you guys are saying this because I come from the exact opposite place. I've seen The Void and I thought it was good. I was not crazy about it. I have not seen any other Astron 6 stuff. at all. I've seen probably 5 minutes of Father's Day. I am a giant fan of the first like 3 Leprechaun movies. So
Wow.
that's what had me on for this one.
Wow.
is
Not
that
just a fan, but a giant fan.
Yeah.
Yes, I go super hard for Leprechaun 1 through 3, basically.
I like Leprechaun 1 a lot. And I've never seen Leprechaun 3.
Oh damn, dude! You got to get on Leprechaun 3.
That's the somebody made that, right? Somebody of renown.
Brian Trenchard Smith.
Okay, yeah.
Made
So
3
yeah,
and 4.
yeah. No, I mean, I really like the first Leprechaun. Like, it's ridiculous, but I really,
Yeah.
I really think it's a very, it's a very. It's hard to say something's underrated when there's a bunch of them, but like in that late era 90, like early 80s, late 80s, early 90s slashes, like I think it's very underrated because it just was a slasher, you know?
I mean, Leprechaun was a fine film. It was a fun film, I should say, not a fine film, but a fun film. It's just hard to gather in your brain that there's 6 Leprechaun films. That's just hard to believe.
6 including Origins in this one, or
Yeah.
That's including this. Origins
You know
of
what
this one.
does kind of fucking stick like a fucking extra finger up my ass though is that
ooh,
Hey, now.
it's gotta feel good, huh?
there's Leprechaun has now been rebooted twice, right?
Yeah, in the
And I
last few
understand why.
years.
Yeah, I understand why. I don't want fucking any fucking jamokes in the chat room to try to explain it to me or anybody here. Like, I understand why. But Leprechaun's been rebooted twice. Halloween has also been rebooted now twice. And no Friday 13th.
Yeah.
Like, it's just fucking, like, you know, if you just take it as a fucking.
Oh, they're I mean, it's just it's caught up in
I know, I do. That's
legal
why I said
hell.
I
Yeah,
don't,
yeah.
I don't want to hear it, but I mean, if you're just looking at iconography versus iconography, like, it's just crazy, you know. Same as Nightmare on Elm Street, though, right? Like, there's only been that one fucking unwatchable Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, and you would think that by now they'd fucking dust off Freddy, right? If they're gonna fucking take another swing at the Leprechaun or even Michael Myers, because as much as like I love.
Well, to be fair too, like a direct to VOD release is different than, getting it in a theatrical release.
Yeah, but I mean, again, Michael Myers like keeps getting like rebooted over and over again. So it's just crazy that I feel like the money that's on the table like has to be more than whatever money is holding things up. Like,
yeah. So this just dropped on VOD, and as we talked about, I was actually going to cut to you, Cody, because I knew you were really interested in coming on to discuss this flick, but now we know why. You're a giant fan of the first 3 Leprechaun films.
Absolutely.
And so, and having seen The Void and not being kind of lukewarm on it, so obviously you have no
Dog in the
preconceived he's a dog trainer. I was trying not to use that.
fight. A
So
cow in the
it's
field,
so
I don't know.
insensitive, Raven Shadow.
Oh,
Jesus.
all right. Well, a bird in the bush or
Jesus
something.
Christ, dude.
Sorry. A bat in the
I'm
belfry.
crying over here.
I'm sorry.
Fucking dog fighting. What are you, Michael Vick? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Hey, listen.
Go ahead.
I hope you
Hey,
feel
listen-
bad.
hey,
Yeah,
listen-
we're listening.
Hey, listen, he doesn't say anything.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
to me.
Listen.
Dead silence. There you go.
Just hear me. That's all I'm saying.
That was a line that I. Oh man, what's his name? Your boy from Low Life.
Randy?
Randy, yeah, it's something Randy would say. All right, so we got this flick directed by Steven Kostanski, and I would think that this is just sort of a paycheck. When I first saw that he was doing this, I was like, it's kind of weird, but you know what? If he wants to be a director and they're offering you an opportunity to direct a film, you don't say no, right?
Right. Well, it depends on the film.
Yeah, but I mean, if let's say Raven Shadow, you want to be a film director.
Yes.
Someone says to you, you want to direct Leprechaun. What do you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. See.
Yeah. What's the?
But just the idea, it's just the very idea that somebody wants to make, that somebody took the time to actually write another screenplay for Leprechaun.
That's not too.
I
weird.
mean, I mean, that's far more outlandish than directing it, I think.
Well, and it's written by Suzanne Keeley, who was in Ash versus Evil Dead. Do you recognize her, MZ?
Let me see. I gotta see.
I got a picture right here.
Oh.
Do you recognize her? I don't know. I haven't seen all of Ash versus Evil Dead, so I don't know exactly. She played.
She was a writer.
Oh, was she a writer? She wasn't an actress. Okay.
No, I think she was just a writer.
Oh, okay.
She is an actress, but it looks like she's just.
Okay. Yeah. I thought she was in it, but yeah, you're right. She's just a writer for it. So. But it is sort of an interesting thing to sort of revamp this. But once again, I'm sure Sci-Fi got the rights to it or whatever, and we're like, hey, let's reboot this. It's perfect property. It's well known. It's got a following, and it fits into that sort of kitschy, sort of sci-fi horror.
And also, if you look at the fact that they made it, they obviously got a lot of play from playing the other 16. I don't know the fuck many there are incessantly. So, they're like, oh, well, here's a way we can make money on two fronts. We know people will watch this if we put it on because they watched all the other fucking ones. And
I became aware of this because on St. Patrick's Day, I was watching Leprechaun 2 on the Sci-Fi channel. I guess they were doing like a Leprechaun, a marathon of all of them.
Yep.
And they ran a bumper for this one saying like coming, March or whenever St. Patrick's Day is. So I was very surprised to see that this dropped on VOD so many months prior.
Yeah, it was interesting. So I'm sure they're probably giving it the, hey, let's make some money off of this with the VOD purchases, and then we just have it in our library and play it whenever. So certainly not. It's an interesting now with the way digital media is. I mean, you can do that. It's their prerogative, and if they want to make a little extra money on it, I don't know if monetizing through commercials is as lucrative as it once was, but they can make some money on top and then put it out. So,
well, I think they've become, like you hear about like premieres and half season premieres. When you have these like iconic shows that people are going to go or not iconic but popular shows like Walking Dead or Sons of Anarchy or whatever. Like they do all this like packaging stuff to try to pull new people in, but like.
Yep.
They have like this built-in audience. Like Sci-Fi Network is the fucking king of making destination TV out of nothing, right?
And to
like
be fair,
Sharktopus, like people are fucking stoked about that shit every time, and like, it's Sharktopus.
Yeah, and to be fair, like they have been doing they've been kind of killing it with the TV lately. Sci-Fi.
The best television shows right now. I don't care what anyone fucking says. If you're a genre fan, if you're not a normie, like for my money, the best shows by a lot are on Sci-Fi right now.
Yeah, so there we go. So they've been turning it up. So, all right, so let's jump into this flick now. So, we start out and we have, it's MZ's worst nightmare, young, attractive cast. But we have Lila played by Taylor Spritler. And Lila is Jennifer Aniston's character from the first one. It's her daughter.
Yeah.
And she had recently passed away. She was well, I don't know if she was diagnosed, but everyone thought she was crazy. This whole incident with the leprechaun really affected her, and she was kind of not quite all there. So, Taylor Spritler plays Lila, and Lila sort of knows all about the whole ordeal with the leprechaun, despite thinking that her mom was just crazy, So she goes to.
Are you walking on leaves?
Sorry. I think it's Mars's beard. Are you?
I think he's eating Cheetos.
No, I'm in bed. You probably just hear the bed. My whole office is a bed now. That's the only good part about my new office.
So this is what Dynamo sounds like in bed?
Ooh.
Hey now.
Just fucking put your ear against the wall any given night, Monster Zero.
Okay.
I'm the reason your punk ass is on the couch.
So right off the bat, we got Mark Holton playing Ozzy from reprising his character from from the first Leprechaun.
Yes.
And also, you might know him from other films such as
Oh.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure as
Yes.
Francis.
And Teen Wolf. And Teen Wolf 2.
Yes, absolutely. So, Mark Holden, a 80s stalwart,
Yes.
makes his return, and I think he looked pretty good. He looked a little different than I remember him, but still looking pretty good.
A little aged, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that'll do it to you when you get older.
That's true.
Oh fuck.
I mean, according to his bio here, he's 60 now. So,
It was like a day over 59.
it's true.
So, so basically Ozzy is this sort of like creepy guy in town, and eventually he ends up giving Lila a ride to the house where the sorority is. They're starting a new sorority here. It's kind of like an all green. They're gonna kind of live off the grid with solar energy and all these other things. And
Kale.
I didn't hear a reference to Kale in
No,
there.
Kale's in there. Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
They had a bunch in the cupboards.
The
In
cupboards?
the cupboards.
You keep Kale in the cupboard?
Don't you?
No.
I wouldn't know where to find Kale.
Yeah, so it's
In the
it's all-
ground.
No.
so it's all out in the middle of this wooded area
I love
with a
how
big
Raven
opening.
Shadow's fucking hill to die on is that Wolfie is fucking healthy.
Mostly.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
I don't-
mostly healthy, but he's probably the most miserable because he can't have a hamburger.
I'm not miserable at all, dude. Why would I be miserable?
He's-
Why
he's
would I
the-
do it if I was miserable?
He's the least miserable of this group.
Yeah. Why would I do something if it makes me miserable?
All right, I have a question for you, right? Wolfie,
Yes.
how many health scares have you had in the past 4 years?
Well, considering I haven't been to a doctor, I probably don't know about them, but none.
Yeah. Everyone else.
Probably.
Raven Shadow used to take his pants off to count.
The only one who has not had a stress test here in the past 5 years, at least once, almost died laughing.
That's true. That's you, Monster
Yeah.
Zero.
Don't look confused.
My health.
He's
as
like,
far
yeah,
as I'm
Aries.
concerned- As far as I'm concerned, my health is fine.
Right.
The medical community.
As far as you're concerned,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Thank you, Codeine.
a medical professional.
Exactly.
Just because you literally look like you're about to burst out of your skin.
How fat do you think I am, for Christ's sake?
I believe he
think it's
just
bad.
said it because you're about to burst out of your skin. And,
What?
And who in this room recently went out because of a back injury?
Right.
That was a work injury, okay? I was doing physical manual labor, which
Okay.
is more than any of you asswipes can ever do.
Oh yeah.
You want to go? You want to fucking go?
Except you. I was going to say that, except you.
I
know-
probably lift more than you, though, when I go to the gym.
Oh, so he has to go
And-
to the
and-
gym in order to lift.
No, and that's and that's
He
why
can't do it outside of a gym. No, he has to go to a special building to lift.
and that's why he hasn't had a back injury.
Yeah. I used to have a bad back
Oh, I've,
until
al-
I started working out.
I've always had a bad back.
Yeah, you don't
Because
fucking
you don't
work
work
out,
out.
you asshole.
Is
Because
that-
your
You
core
started
isn't
doing
strong.
you started doing yoga, and you fucking stopped.
Yeah, I did.
I have a question for everyone,
Yes.
and this isn't bragging because I think I'm mediocre at best, but like I think it's a fact. True or false? Monster Zero would die 20 minutes into the Deadite set if he tried to emulate everything that I did.
True.
Die.
True.
Yeah, dead.
Well, considering the amount of alcohol you
He
consume
doesn't
during
drink.
a set.
I don't drink
He
it
doesn't
at
drink
all
anymore,
anymore.
really.
Oh, anymore.
Well,
Yeah.
to be honest, you did bring in 2 female singers so you could take a break halfway through.
Yeah, it's true. But that doesn't have that has more to do with my knees and ankles than it does with my I mean it's not like I'm gonna sing better if I take time off. Like it's not like I'm fucking
Well, you're gonna
I'm
stay
fucking
alive.
Yeah.
I'm resting. I'm not making miracles. But yeah, no, like Monster Zero, like you gotta get fucking like you're not healthy. I don't want to hear it. Raven Shadows could like 10% dead at least. In areas.
You might think I'm not healthy, but at least I look good. I look young. I look young.
You okay? You look.
God.
Are you happy you killed Mars?
Don't pass
you
out.
killed Mars.
Yeah.
You look like Jet when he doesn't want elephant ball. You look like you're constructed entirely out of hams. At least I look good.
Well,
Oh,
the ham
man.
looks good.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I'd bite the shit out of Monster Zero.
I look younger. I look young.
In the
I don't
face.
look my age.
No, you don't. In the face, you look good.
In the face.
Face.
Christ.
and
At
the amount of
least I
hair
look
on your
good.
body. You look like a fucking
yeah.
baby.
Oh, shut up. Leave my body hair alone.
He's so smooth.
You mean your hairless body?
He is so smooth.
Yeah?
You are
Cody.
so smooth.
Check around
He
my
is-
balls. You want to see if there's no hair there.
Yes.
No.
No, in the video.
Listen,
The perfectionist.
I had no choice.
Yeah. Get in
if
there.
you want to know how good you actually look or don't look, right? Have it told to you by a woman that's not your girlfriend or mom, or a gay man. Otherwise, go to fuck home. Because you have no litmus of how good you look.
No, not
Well,
woman.
what's wrong with being told that you look good by a gay person?
Yeah, no,
No, it's
yeah.
fine.
Ask a gay person.
No,
they will be honest
right.
with you.
Creepy girl says he's the most handsome.
That's what I mean. Ask a gay person. They will be
Right.
honest.
Wait.
That's what I was saying, Aaron.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, you
All right.
said woman. Don't ask a
Well,
woman. Women
but-
worry about your feelings. A gay man does
yeah,
not.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Because I bet you that you'd get kicked out of a lot of boy bed, to be honest, Monster Zero, for eating crackers.
Not Giovanni. No, Giovanni Lombardi Radice.
No, that was
Oh.
like fucking 10 years ago.
Oh,
That was
Mumsy,
like
you
10
let
years
yourself
ago.
go.
Oh, you got a big belly now.
Yeah.
You eat too much spaghetti. You eat too much pescetti.
Look at you. What you eat the
At least I
prosciutto
look
for?
good. Can't
Prosciutto.
believe fucking- We've waited
What's
370
prosciutto?
episodes.
Prosciutto. I don't know. Whatever the fuck.
Paschetto.
Look at you. Your body looks like a big fat tub of linguine.
Next thing he's gonna say is at least I'm smart.
40 minutes. We haven't even talked about this movie
I know.
yet.
Let's get moving on this, huh?
Good God.
Welcome to the show, Cody.
I can't believe we fucking waited 374 episodes to have Cody on just for you to say at least I look.
374. We're on 334,
Jesus.
man.
Well, how many zeros and whatever else? I'm
Holy
losing count.
Christ! Let's just go.
Yeah, so they drive back to, and it's.
You know what? Fuck it. I don't want to break down the whole plot of it. We don't need
All
to
right.
do that. Cody, what do you think of this fucking film? You're a huge fan of Leprechaun.
I thought it sucked. I thought it was. I was thinking going in, like, I sort of undersold it. I thought The Void was pretty good. I did not flip for it like you guys did, but I thought it was a good movie. I would gladly see it again. And I'm aware of his reputation. I'm at least aware of Astron 6 and the sort of thing they do. So I thought, okay, so this guy who has sort of his own motor is going to kind of take a paycheck, and he's going to make this movie that incidentally is going to air on the Sci-Fi Network. And I watch it, and it's actually just a Sci-Fi Channel movie. That I guess they handed off to a guy who they think of as being a steady hand. I just thought, man, I didn't like it at all, I gotta say. The new guy they got being Leprechaun, he kind of sucks. That makeup is awful. It sounded like he was struggling to talk through parts of it. Just dub him if it's gonna sound that bad. I don't know. I don't mean to bury it, but I thought it was pretty poor. I didn't think it was. I like Leprechaun, and I think I also like the first two Problem Child movies.
There you go. All right.
The cutesy stuff when it's like so just unbelievably malevolent, and like the Leprechaun movies just sort of feel like they follow the Problem Child movies to like their natural endpoint, basically to murder, basically.
Yeah.
Damn, they take swings at it here, but none of it is funny. I thought. I just thought it was just a wet fart for like 90 minutes. Better now. Is it better than Leprechaun Origin? Yes.
Yeah,
But
not much could be worse than that.
Leprechaun Origin is uniquely useless.
Yeah.
Just in the way that almost all WWE productions are. They really beat the odds and make just the most interesting thing possible with what they have at their disposal almost every time. It's better than that, but man, the second worst Leprechaun movie for me, I gotta say.
Wow. All right. By the way, in the chat room, Leanna says, "I'm a bisexual woman. I can be an honest judge."
See?
Oh, Jesus.
And then she doesn't answer.
Yeah. So being honest means not saying whether you're handsome or not. Just avoid the question.
Trust that.
So, all right, we got Cody's take on it. Mars, let's go on. Get your take here.
I really enjoyed this.
All right.
I didn't love it. Here is where I feel like perhaps a little like foreknowledge of this guy's work goes like outside of the void goes a long way. Because I feel like one thing Astron 6 is able to do is really do the thing. Like when they're doing a Giallo parody, they really do the thing. When they're doing a canon parody, they really do the thing. And I think this is Kostansky doing that. I know that like it's like a low hanging fruit to say certain elements are bad on purpose, but like I really feel like this script is very self aware without the kind of modern like the post Scream pretense of letting you know that it's self-aware. I thought the gore was good. I was indifferent to the Leprechaun. I don't think that he was terrific, but it's jarring, right? Like it'd be like if a different, Freddy showed up tomorrow. Like it's not like Michael Myers or Jason, who there's a lot of, and even having a new Jason after having 4 straight Kane was jarring. So. Warwick Davis is, the Leprechaun, and anybody else is going to have to get a lot of films under their belt without being that. And I also do think that this also is like the Leprechaun version of a sci-fi movie too. Like, so I don't disagree with Cody. So, it just like, but it was the polar opposite of Terrifier, but the same thing as Terrifier. It was just a slasher movie. Slasher movies, like a lot of we watched 2 movies I love this year. What Keeps You Alive and Darkness, which definitely had slasher movie elements. But as soon as you kind of try to add more to that recipe, it's maybe the one genre where you can't. It's not that anymore. If you don't put kids in a place and have them fucking killed, it's like not that anymore. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, nobody's been able to crack that code to make it work another way. And I just think that this was not as good as I wanted it to be. But I really enjoyed it. Like I felt like it was like 90 minutes of like what I want to see more of in horror right now. Like I'm not ashamed to be a horror fan. So keep in mind that I'm using a lesser movie as what I want when I'm criticizing when I'm mentioning, I'm using a lesser movie in a better movie than it, like of what I want, what I don't want. But like I want less fucking Hereditary and I want more fun horror, or at least a balance, because I feel like there isn't a balance right now. Like I feel like a lot of horror movies like are homework now. And I don't, and that's not why I loved horror in the first place. I was never ashamed to be a horror movie fan, So I don't need heightened horror. I don't need horror to like step up to my level of intelligence. I have fucking museums and volumes of books and
Yeah.
all sorts of other things that already do that. Like I don't need horror to fucking be quote unquote elevated. That said, there are much better slashers than this, you know, like the Cold Prey films. I think, you know, I think Terrifier, you know, was even better than this. But, you know, I really enjoyed this. And if I may do something that I created when I watched it called the Tiny White Checklist, he fucking looked for his gold.
Yeah.
He had shoes that had a buckle.
Yeah.
He had a little hat, you know, and there's not much more. Like, people criticize films someday, and I'm not saying that Nathan did this, or I'm not saying that whoever else likes or doesn't like is doing this, but like, it's hard to fucking criticize a movie for being what it is. You know, like if I watched Hard Bodies tomorrow and enjoyed it, like it's not like it did what it was supposed to do. When I listen to a lot of punk bands, like I'm not looking for Rush. You know, it did what it was supposed to do, and I appreciated that, and I enjoyed this. You know, like my top 13 list when I made it on. In the middle of last week, and then watch this isn't in too much trouble from Leprechaun. But I was glad we watched it. It was a pleasant change to some of the very dour, uptight stuff that we watch all the time.
Yeah. And, you know, we're kind of, we didn't really discuss the film. We're almost kind of getting into verdict mode here. But,
yeah,
you know, like, I guess to kind of take a step back, what did everyone think of the Leprechaun? Because I felt that let me get his name here, the actor Lyndon Porso, I believe is how you say that. I thought he was pretty good in this. I obviously, you know, missed Warwick Davis, but if he's not going to be in it, this is much better than what WWE attempted to do with Leprechaun Origins, where it wasn't even a fucking leprechaun, you know?
Yeah,
like
where they fucking had a leprechaun not play a leprechaun.
Right. I know that. Yeah, they have a fucking leprechaun. They like basically stole the gimmick of Leprechaun and had him on WWE TV as a fucking leprechaun, and in the movie he's not a fucking leprechaun. It
still keeps me up at night.
Yeah. it blows my mind. But so, you know, I thought that he played the role well. Like I actually liked him. I thought that he was a fair successor to Warwick Davis. You know, obviously the you know, I guess I mean, I hope this isn't insensitive, but the talent pool is going to be more limited than finding, you know, someone who's normal size. You know, you're at the mercy of actors who are diminutive, you know?
I mean, not going to get fucking Peter Dinklage. You know, that'd be fucking awesome.
Dinklage is like, hippie say what?
But it makes you wonder why they didn't get Warwick Davis to play the role.
No, they asked him.
He doesn't want to do it.
He's busy with Star Wars.
That's not even what he said. There's actually a quote that I posted, I think, on our message board, or whatever the fucking kids are calling it these days, where he doesn't want to do horror movies now. He says doing a horror movie is different for him now that he has children. You know, he said maybe he'll go back and do it. Because basically, what are all horror movies about? You know, even though they're 40-year-olds acting like they're 17-year-olds, it's about killing kids. You know, so he's like, just has like a kind of different take on it now, and he didn't want to do it. So I say fuck him.
The quote I had seen, he said that he wanted to wait until his kids are 18.
Yeah.
Until his kids are adults again, or his are adults, for him to return to the genre, which gives me some solace, honestly. I was afraid that he'd sort of said, you know, 25 plus years was enough for this character. So yeah, I can certainly respect him kind of wanting to take a break from the darker stuff while he has children around, but I will definitely cross my fingers that he'll be coming back down the line sometime.
Yeah, I mean, how old are his kids? If the kids are like, you know, 3 and 2, you know, I do it now.
I think they're both in their teens. I don't. It's been a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, Warwick Davis ain't no fucking. He's the size of one, but he ain't no spring chicken.
What's what I mean? Yeah, it's like, you know.
oh my god. Wow.
And by the way, I can't fucking believe. I love our guest like he's family. He's been so nice to me. I am at least some degree of interested in the well-being of everybody that's at that table right now.
Okay, here comes the insult.
But like, I can't fucking believe we are lamenting the fucking thespian abilities of Warwick fucking Davis. That dude was a fucking Ewok that didn't talk. He was a fucking leprechaun. He was
fucking rules in those movies.
Yeah, but it ain't like recasting. I'm sorry, Cody. It ain't like fucking recasting Hugh Jackman or something like.
Oh boy. Oh man.
You know, it ain't like fucking.
Who gives a shit about Hugh Jackman?
Yeah, I agree.
But what I'm saying is like in terms of
good.
an iconic, like, yes, he was fine, but he was fucking the Willow and
The Willow.
Oh, whatever the fuck.
Not someone whose career I follow with any kind of closeness. It's just Leprechaun. I just
Cody is the king of the Warwick Davis fan club.
Yeah, I'll die on this hill.
Cody
Somebody's got to be, I guess, huh?
Absolutely. It's just there's just he seems to there's something to be said for watching a performance from an actor that is
Cody.
What?
I just can't believe you would talk about Warwick Davis.
No, I will. I'll do it right
What's
now.
your problem with that?
Yeah, there's something to be said for watching from watching a performance by an actor that's clearly enjoying the part they play, and I think he really relishes it in just such a way that just makes it work. I definitely did not sort of appreciate the performances in his movies so much until I watched this one, because Leprechaun Origin is worse. But you can't even call that a performance from Hornswoggle. I don't even know.
It didn't even have to be Hornswoggle.
No, it could have been Titus O'Neil for all we care about, and
outrageous.
Because all it was just close-ups. It was just
To be
close-ups.
fair, it was also fucking. Of course, he enjoyed it. It was 20 years since anyone let him talk in a fucking movie. Like he was a fucking Ewok.
Yeah,
He was a fucking Willow, and then he was a fucking.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, like he's fucking under suits.
Yeah, he got just a lot to chew on, and it's I think that's honestly, had this movie, had I just come across this on cable, and I just sort of thought of this as being, okay, the Sci-Fi Channel's doing a direct sequel to Leprechaun, I think I would have received it better, but. I had thought, okay, one of the Astron 6 guys that I've heard so much about, one of the guys that made The Void, a movie I think is pretty good, is making a Leprechaun movie. That, I think, is where a lot of my disappointment comes in. I think I would have thought of this movie as being kind of nifty if I'd seen it as a TV movie, but since I didn't, since I saw it as like I got like any other kind of semi-indie horror movie from the Google Play Store, I think that's where a lot of the disappointment comes from.
See, I don't know. I'm very ambivalent to the Leprechaun movies. Like I said, my caring about it was Jennifer Aniston. I like the.
You didn't even know who she was when those movies came out.
I knew she was a beautiful woman with a potential for a great career. Okay.
You can't even shower with a beautiful woman without taking off your jeans.
Yes, I thought about her the way I thought about you when I first met you. I'm like, it's a beautiful woman that will have a great career. But no, in the Wayne's World skit, I'm a leprechaun. I like that. And I like the fact that that was good. Was that in Wayne's World?
Yes.
My life is legitimately terrible.
And I like the fact that it was In the Hood. That was the title.
In the Hood.
In the Hood.
In the Hood.
So I don't give a fuck. But part of me was excited about the Astron 6 connection.
Mm-hmm.
And really watching it, though, I mean, yes, it was a Leprechaun movie. Absolutely right. It does everything a Leprechaun movie. Well, again, I mean, Cody disagrees. What I think a Leprechaun movie should be. People doing dumb things, pot of gold, whatever the fuck. And, right? I mean, that's the thing.
Oh no, on paper it's there. I totally agree with that.
They had very nice nighttime shots. It looked like nice. But
sucks.
it was. I had to pause it. I'm like, this is fucking. I'm not liking this at all. I'm not feeling it. I think there was a change at the end, especially with the main character too. Who I think even she kind of had more of like a Ellen Page kind of vibe towards the end of the film, and she's even kind of tried to crack jokes to the Leprechaun. I thought some of the gore got better. I liked the falling off the house scene without.
Yeah, there were some good gags in this, some good gore gags.
But like
when he rips his face off,
yeah.
I thought it was pretty good.
The fucking, what do you call it, the drone?
The solar panel.
Oh, the drone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was riding on the drone. What else do you want out of a movie like that? I watched that almost as many times as the Neon Maniac driving the train.
Wow.
Ran him off the road. I like when he's in the car. You know, I don't know. It seemed like the very last.
It picks up.
Yeah.
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 But it was very fucking chore to get through. I had to fucking watch it over the course of 2 fucking days. It was a long fucking 80.
It was a long 86 minutes.
Yeah. What the fuck?
No, I mean, yeah, I thought there were some highlights in this. It's almost what I expected, but there wasn't enough of Steven Kostanski in it as I was hoping. You know, because even like look at W's for Wish from ABC's of Death, like. You know, like that was kind of his baby, I think. Like I think that was mostly his doing. And, you know, look at The Void, that was half his. And it's just he's really imaginative with his stuff. Now, obviously, the script was written for him, so he wasn't able to, you know, maybe he had some input, but for the most part, the script was done. So, you know, I feel that his input was probably pretty minimal in terms of what got done. Maybe in some of the gore gags, especially because he's an effects guy. That's sort of his roots. So I think that was, you know, I think that he had probably some input on that. You know, I think the face ripping was good. The solar panel death I thought was pretty good. And the even like the little leprechauns reminded me of Army of Darkness with the little ashes.
Yeah, completely.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to be honest, it looked 9 million times better.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of advances in technology since then, but you know, there was some good stuff in here.
I thought it was real magic. I'm sorry.
And the dialogue was as groan-inducing as I had hoped for, because that's kind of like the hallmark of a Leprechaun movie. Like and you know, I haven't seen Leprechaun 1 in maybe 5 years, and I've probably only seen it twice in my life. You know, when it came out, and I saw it again maybe 5 years ago or so. Oh, you know, I saw it when we did Leprechaun Origins. I ended up rewatching it just to rewatch it. So whenever that was.
You poor bastard.
But, you know, I'm like, yeah, this movie's fine. It certainly doesn't live in the lexicon of fucking, you know, like great horror movies, but it's a fun little thing, and it exists on, you know, in a vacuum. I think it's fine, you know, but when you compare it to other stuff, it just doesn't stack up. But this to me is almost exactly what I expected, except for, you know, wanting a little bit more of Kostanski's personality in it. And there was moments where it was groan-inducing, and there was moments where I was bored, but there was moments where I laughed. And, you know, like that's it. And it didn't feel like a sci-fi movie to me. It felt like a normal VOD flick, and that sort of maybe, you know, elevated it a little bit for me. But it ended up being kind of what I wanted out of this. So,
you know, I agree with what Mars says at the beginning about the self-awareness of this film, because that was the first thing I caught on to.
Yeah.
And it was really quite obvious that you know, the makers of this film knew what they were doing as far as being self-referential, or self-aware rather, I meant to say. I did like this movie.
Wow.
I'm saying to myself, you know, I really shouldn't be, and I don't know if it's because of Kostanski's involvement in this or not, but this was really, and I really did like this. As far as Kostanski's input into this film, I think it has a lot to do with the tropes that he threw into this movie, whereas somebody else would take these 80s tropes and 70s tropes, shove them in your face. And what we know from Astron 6 is that their love of 80s and 70s cinema is pretty strong, and they know how to distribute it right throughout the film. And what I find more interesting is the fact that these are 80s, the 80s tropes, where you have your certain characters, the promiscuous girl, the jock, the drunk, the skeptic, the whole, that whole bit. And then you go back to 70s, or if you want to go even earlier than that, where you have Mark Holton playing Ozzy, and he's like, you mean you never heard about the time when blah 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 blah, and this, the I guess you call him the Harbinger of Doom, I guess, or whatever you call it. I don't know.
Oh, like from Cabin in the Woods.
Well, from 9 Million.
Oh no,
Yeah.
no.
Slasher movies.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know, yeah, but
Yeah.
That's
The,
like
the
kind
crazy
of a,
the crazy Ralph role,
Oh,
really.
yeah.
The crazy
that's
Ralph
sort of
role.
like Cabin in the Woods. The whole point of Cabin in the Woods was that it was like all these text points about horror.
Oh, right. But I mean, they called him the Harbinger in that. But yes, the old man in the stores.
I think that might have been from Men, Women, and Chainsaws, or maybe even Kurzweil's book. I'm not sure. But that's like a the good Kurzweil.
Oh.
Yeah, I like to think of it as the.
You're welcome.
I like to think of it as like the crazy Ralph role, And so these tropes of 80s and 70s are put into a sequel for a movie that was made in the early 90s. So I thought that I don't know why, but for some reason I found that to be kind of interesting.
I hated these characters, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Lila was the only one that was somewhat endearing, but I just really thought that they were all terrible people.
Yeah.
And Katie is the girl that kept having sex with that boy.
Yeah, she was my favorite.
Because she was dumb. Like it was like that was straight out of you're right about this, MZ. It was straight out of like 80s cinema, where the dumb girl who keeps falling for the fucking idiot and keeps having sex with him, even though she's like, I hate you, and the next thing you know, she's in his bed fucking him. Like it's just like, that's one of the things. Like I wish we could sort of advance past that. Like I understand they're probably playing up these tropes and maybe even doing kind of a meta commentary on them but I don't know. Like it just was. That's one of the things that bugged me was the characterization of these characters is just tired and boring.
You don't think it was the same as the sexism in the editor?
Ooh, it was very sexy.
No, it's
like you don't think
I
that.
didn't.
No, I mean, I don't remember that. I mean, I haven't seen that movie in a couple of years, but
There's
to me,
like a line when like people are lining up at a restaurant to slap a woman.
Yes, but to me that was tongue in cheek, and it was over the top to point a finger at it and say this is done, this is stupid, like that's sort of how I took that. But this is not even sort of pointing a sign at it. It's just like a given. This is how this woman operates, and it just was. I didn't feel it was done as satire. It was just poorly written character.
I have not seen the editor, so I can't really comment. But this just didn't seem to have the energy or interest necessary to be a pointed observation about a genre trope.
Right.
And even if it was, I don't think it did anything that was worthwhile enough to be good.
Right.
I don't.
Who gives a shit? Yeah.
I think where it got hamstringed, to be honest, is that, and pardon me, Cody, is that I think that the script, I think Kostansky leaned into it with direction and probably performance direction, but I think that the woman who wrote the script, and it's funny that it did, I couldn't put my finger on it, but it does remind me of Ash versus the Evil Dead some, is like, I think that it was kind of written with a bit of disdain for millennials. Like I think it was kind of like written, and I think that might have hamstring. Like I think that it just kind of it kind of muddied the water because you were basically like, we've often seen slasher movies and movies where you're not supposed to like the characters,
Right.
but I felt like this was kind of written like you don't like people like this. You don't like young people.
Two different gags about taking a fucking selfie with the leprechaun.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Right.
damn, one doesn't do it.
Well, look,
Yeah.
I'm not saying the movie's perfect, far from it, but
No, and I do like it. I like it.
Yeah, and
so do I. But I'll agree with Cody in
Yeah.
that the idea of a couple of selfies with the leprechaun is a little. It's pushing
I think
it.
that
A little
But-
redundant.
I
I think
think
he tried. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I
Like,
think-
it might not have been on paper, but
and I don't blame maybe I'm being biased, but I don't blame Stephen Kostansky for the failings of this movie. I think it's in the script. And when you're on a tight timeline, because obviously, like, we just heard about this a few months ago, so they obviously didn't have a lot of time for this, and
no.
so they put it together. You get a script in hand, you get it all together, and you do it. And it was just sort of a quick turnaround on this. So I don't fault him at all. I just feel that he didn't have any input, and I think if you get Stephen Kostansky to direct your movie, you should have his input because he is really good with with commentary and like social commentary, at least in the Astron 6 movies. I don't know if that's been his idea, but and he didn't work on the editor, to be fair. He was off working on The Void, I believe. So
That's true too.
but having said that, I just feel like if you get someone like that, I think you want a little bit more of their stamp on it, a little bit more of their personality. And I'm not saying he should have written the script, but maybe had a little bit more say in it. And
I would prefer if he did.
yeah, and maybe he did, and we're just wrong. I mean, we never know. So I mean, who knows what happened with this? But yeah, I mean, it's a Leprechaun movie, folks. It's
Right. I mean, how much can you fucking do?
yeah.
Like,
It's not Casablanca, folks.
yeah.
No. And as far as my opinion on Lyndon Porso goes, the Leprechaun, I think he did pretty fine.
Yeah, I thought he was fine.
I mean,
He was a leprechaun.
yeah. Well, I mean, there were certain moments in this where he was actually getting to be a little bit creepy. There were a couple of scenes, especially in the kitchen, where he was taking the selfies. I can't remember if it was before or after that. I think it was after that. He was starting to turn pretty dark. Yeah, and I was wondering how far it was going to go. Knowing that this is a sci-fi film, I didn't think it was going to go that far, but I think he turned in a pretty good performance, and with equal amounts of with joviality and being menacing.
Yeah, and I mean, in a Leprechaun movie, you need to have a strong performance from the Leprechaun. I mean, once again, just completely disavowing all knowledge of Leprechaun origins, but it hinges on that performance and those sort of the humor and the cheesy lines and the gore gags and stuff like that. And I think that this movie had it, and that's sort of what all it needed was that and a halfway decent script to hold it all together, and you got a successful Leprechaun movie. Really, it's not a high bar, unfortunately. So, I think they pulled off what they wanted to. The last thing I wanted to discuss that really was just kind of annoying, and maybe this is a bit of a meta take on how silly certain contrivances in film are, but that iron prison he was in was so ridiculous.
Stop it.
Yeah, stop it. Yeah.
The iron. I'm trying to remember.
So it was
The spell.
It was like,
Oh,
well, it wasn't
okay,
even a
right,
spell. I don't think it was. It was just that they used these different iron objects in a circle around him to keep him contained in there.
Yeah.
So there was I forget what they even used, but there was kettlebells and like a couple other things that were iron, and literally he could have stepped over them.
Oh no!
And it just looks so silly, and maybe that's kind of a take on these silly film contrivances, but
Were they beating him with a pillow at one point?
yeah.
Yeah, they had a pillow
Pillow
fight.
fight, like not even like a
And-
sexy pillow fight.
And it kind of bugged me how sometimes he had powers and sometimes he didn't.
I don't know. I got a chuckle out of the pillow fight scene because I just thought it was just so goddamn ridiculous.
And the worst line I cringed hard. The best green footprint is no footprint at the end.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, like I was done. I was done.
There were a couple of grown-inducing ones, but that was
that was the king. Yeah.
Like you said, it's grown-inducing, but you know what? What do you expect from a Leprechaun film? I mean,
But that was the thing that kind of drove home for me that whoever wrote this hates these fucking people. You know, like they're not dealing with, you know, like they're not dealing with and I'm sorry, you know, they're not dealing with my sons, who are people of that age group who are like fully functioning like human beings. Like they're dealing with the fucking, obviously, like they are dealing with the most pretentious, terrible, vacuous millennials that they could possibly come across, and
I don't even think these are millennials.
They fucking hate them.
I don't think they were millennials. They're younger than millennials, so it's not. We can't even call them millennials. But
yeah, I mean, age-wise they are, but I think that they were. I mean, like the selfie thing, you know what I mean? Like they were hitting all the like. Far be it from me to defend the worst generation, but like they were doing all the stuff, you know, like all the things that age group is supposedly, you know, there's a Snapchat joke, you know, they were doing like all the things that those people like don't do.
I just don't think I just think it's a modern era thing. I don't think it's a specific generation. I mean, you know, like we have some friends that are always on Snapchat and they're like our age, you know? So
yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
One of them is in the Deadites. So, but, you know, I do want to wrap this up because we have another flick to talk about. I just want to catch up on the chat room real quick. And, Leanna, this is like half hour ago. She says, when we're asking MZ's honest opinion of MZ, she says MZ looks like the troll Raven J draws him as.
Wow.
Wow.
And she
Holy
said,
shit.
and she said, and that haircut, God, that haircut.
Hell, what are you busting my balls for? What's the matter with you?
Jeez.
She's honest.
Well, you know, she said she could be an honest judge, so you asked for it.
Maybe not really fully honest.
maybe sugarcoat a little bit.
A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Yeah, there you go.
Whatever the fuck.
What are you worried about? She's not attacking you.
No, I don't know. But
well, she does say, I kind of want a show where Raven Shadow has to review a movie that he saw 15 minutes of.
Well, stay tuned.
Yeah. Well, have you not been listening to the shows?
Yeah.
You're not gonna watch all the movies.
And Leanna says, MZ on Independence Day. It's the worst fucking movie ever made. MZ on Leprechaun returns. It's not a perfect movie, but...
In other words, what are you busting my balls for? In other words, this movie is better than Independence Day.
More inspired than Independence Day.
This movie is better than Independence Day.
Yeah.
Have Randy Quaid flying on a fucking
It's better than
drone.
Van Helsing.
Van Helsing. Yeah.
All right, we should probably go to a verdict on this. I'm sorry.
What about Aries?
Yeah.
Did he not see it, or is he just gimmicking up?
No, I really haven't had an opportunity to chime in, and I'm really just looking forward to moving on.
Wow. I'm going to move on with my life now.
All right, well, let's go to the verdict, and then we'll hear his thoughts.
Trick or treat, baby.
I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, verdict time. We're going to let you know whether this flick was a trick or a treat. And any final thoughts? We have Raven Shadow.
I wasn't prepared. I thought you were going to go to Aries. As mentioned, it was a fucking Leprechaun movie. I'm sorry, Cody. I know your love for the Storage franchise, but you know, from an outsider looking in, this seems like you're going to get it checks off the boxes, right? You know, all the shit.
No boobs, though, Raven Shadow.
I know. What the fuck?
Did check that box.
Seriously, I was fucking checking for that box.
Wow.
But this is going to be on Sci-Fi. Like, would even some of this gore be shown? Not that it was fucking.
See, that's why I know you're watching the wrong station. This doesn't carry a fucking candle to Happy.
Yeah, fair. I would like the Astronaut 6 guys to tackle like a known property and put their spin on it, and I really wanted this to be that.
Yeah.
make it different. I don't know, maybe because of the avant-garde approach of Leprechaun Origins, that they were like, no, go fucking back to the well, asshole. And how much?
No pun intended.
Yeah, right. You would think the director would have the most creative control over it. I don't know. Maybe it was a studio thing where like just deliver what people like. Give them what they want. Sharknado style. Like give them the same fucking beats. I don't know.
Well, I think that's what it's sort of what Cody said is that if they have the Leprechaun library, they're going to be showing the films. Give them more of the same.
Yeah, and that was his maybe job, just to do that and maybe throw a couple of cool special effects, gore effects in.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I can't recommend this. I mean, when I said someone I'm watching a new Leprechaun movie, and their response is, ugh, or groans. Yeah, I kind of like the last act. It was better, but I don't know. It's a trick.
Trick. All right, Aries.
Hearing that this was a sci-fi film, I'm a little shocked because this seems like there was more of a budget thrown at it than most of their sci-fi films.
Yeah.
Maybe because it was a VOD release opposed to just something they were showing on their channel. But that being said, special effects, yeah, they threw money at it. Script, yeah, they didn't really throw that much money at it, I don't think. Or maybe they should have thrown a little bit more. I mean, it was a Leprechaun movie, but it didn't break any new ground. There wasn't any new. I mean, the jokes were it seemed like they were scraped off the floor from the third movie. It was fourth time recycled, just picking up shit that should have been tossed away a long time ago.
Leprechaun jokes.
Bad references to make way for that you haven't seen him since '93. A camera and a phone all in one. Blah blah blah, and he was all surprised, but he knew exactly what a selfie was. He knew how to pose for that shit.
Yeah, right.
So it was just mindless bullshit. There was nothing original, nothing inventive. So this movie definitely is a trick.
All right, MZ.
I did like this, and I am going to say this is a treat. Not a tepid treat, but this is a treat. I will probably want to see this again at some point because partially because I just can't get over what I just saw. What we brought up earlier, the pillow fights, the iron jail, that third reel was really getting a little crazy. But crazy in a good way. Crazy in a...
And the drone.
And the drone. Crazy in a early 90s Leprechaun sort of way. And... yeah, I mean, there's a lot of annoying, I guess you could say, quote unquote tropes, as far as characterizations go, with the actors and actresses. But I enjoyed it. It kind of brought me back, and it's a stupid flick. It's far from perfect. It's a stupid movie, and just like all these movies are, they're just brainless, dumb, mindless fun, and I like dumb, brainless, mindless fun. So
no shit.
so this is a treat for me. Really no complaints.
Mars, in the chat room, well, actually not in the chat room, on YouTube, we have your buddy Sing Sang Soon.
Oh.
And he says, OMG, the Leprechaun came back. No way. He's my favorite movie. I have to check this out because he awesome. Get all the lady and pot of gold.
That's
right.
True.
That
The best part is like, he's so obviously fucked up on whatever he's doing. Like, he and I talked about this at length earlier today, and he's still surprised.
All right,
I saw Sing Sang Soon.
Yeah, I saw your
I haven't seen him
picture.
in a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was great. It was nice. Just fucking wandered in. Yo.
Yeah. Fucking dragon came into your store.
It's true. I can't fucking believe that I have so much to say, and I apologize because I try. I can't believe I have so much to say in my verdict of fucking Leprechaun Returns.
All right, well, let's hear it.
Here we fucking go. There is a conversation. There's two conversations that come up a lot on this show, and one of them is a conversation that Aries and I had once when I was still writing. Wolfie and I had once when I was still writing, and it was I won't call out the publication because who knows who. I know at least the editor is different now, but it was a review of a Birthday Massacre record. Where
I know
they were
about.
just called. It's like, man, I thought that this was going to be awesome heavy metal, but it was just like fucking goth pop. And they're a goth pop band. Like, that's what they are. You just criticize them for being exactly what they are. And as I listen to the negative reviews here, I feel like we're falling into that weird, and this doesn't actually apply to Aries because I feel like he's usually more even keel about the nostalgia of things.
Well, you're scared of me when you're not even in the same room as me.
Dude, I saw a picture today that made me realize if I could go back to 1990 something, I'd tear you and I'd come out of you like the fucking Leprechaun in this movie. But that's not true. I am scared. But I feel like if this movie came out in 1982, people would be fucking snapping their cat all over it. Like, it would be for fucking leprechaun. It'd be a leprechaun bukkake. When was the last time you saw The Prowler?
Very long time ago.
This is a better. I'm sorry to disappoint everyone. This is a better movie than The fucking Prowler. Wow. Like, in every fucking quantifiable way. Like, it's better directed. The acting is better. The gore is much better. The story is fucking dumb and contrived as it is. The story is somehow less dumb and contrived. And, like, I mean, I love Vinegar Syndrome, but, like, people get really excited about a lot of movies, ironically, that they put out. But at the same time, like, Scream Factory put out, like, Return of the Living Dead 2, and people are fucking doing cartwheels. And that's a terrible movie. But it came out, a long time ago. And there seems to be this weird myopic view, nostalgic view of films where people don't even like fucking love them. Ironically, I get like, I'll review fucking Rocktober Blood and give it a C, and literally someone unfriended me on Facebook. There seems to be a weird double standard. And I think if this was, look at it this way, Neck made us watch a lot of shitty movies that we all fucking loved. And I think that with the exception of the fucking cinematic tour de force, which is Neon Maniacs, I don't think any of the things that we watched with Neck were any better or any worse than this movie. And it's just a matter of like that we're willing to accept schlock if it came out before a certain point. And it's just crazy to me. Like, it's either good or it's good, or it's bad or it's bad. And this is exactly that fucking thing. You don't go to McDonald's and get upset when they don't give you filet mignon. And this is that fucking thing. Like, you might not like it. You might not like that thing, and that's the way you say it. And I feel like to a degree, he's going to think I'm kissing his ass, but I have no reason to. To a degree, that's what Aries said. I don't like this fucking thing, right? But if you like all these other things and you don't like this thing, like, I feel like there's an air of, like, I don't want to say disingenuous, because sometimes there are certain elements that resonate with people differently, but like, I think that a lot of people are going to shit on this movie and call it crappy, and then they're going to try to tell me that Life Force is a fucking masterpiece. So like it's just fucking crazy to me. So I found this a treat. It was fine. My fucking top 13 list is in no danger of getting shuffled around. But like, and by the way, when I was looking for a movie that I was trying to say did this a little better, Puppet Master was the one I was trying to think of that we did this year.
The Littlest Reich.
Yeah, but so I thought this was a treat. I think it's fine. I'm not, again, I can enjoy an intelligent horror movie, but I also, pun intended, am not upset when a genre returns to its origins.
If I could have, I don't usually like to interrupt the recaps and everything else. I just want a minute here. If you brought me to McDonald's when I was a teenager and I didn't like it, but I went there every week with you, don't bring me back there 20 years ago and expect that I'm going to fucking like it.
I feel like you don't listen to me.
I mean, that's what you're doing with this movie.
They have salads now.
Hey, Johnny.
Yeah.
Didn't I say Aries wouldn't have liked this then. Isn't that what I said? Like Aries is
I
more
honestly
even
don't.
keel and is nostalgia. He just doesn't listen. He
wasn't
just like
listening.
you have something.
Well, no,
He
because
just
you
hears
you
something
you
and
you
decides.
accuse me of like not appreciating the nostalgia of it.
No,
There's no
that's
fucking
not what I
nostalgia,
did.
'cause-
I said that the expression I used, if anybody listened that can back me up, is that this isn't what Aries is doing. He's usually more even keel in his nostalgia. Is to say that you wouldn't say something was awesome in 1985 and then not like it in 2018.
But
It's the
saying
same
that
thing.
I'm usually more even keeled, which is implying that I liked this movie when it came out.
That's not what that means. You need to get a dictionary, sir. Like that's not what this means. It means that you are more consistent in your reviews of things that are either old, whether they're old or new. If the sensibilities don't resonate with you, they don't resonate with you. That's not what that means.
Yeah, no,
I apologize, but
by the simple fact that saying usually, meaning I'm going away from the norm.
Nope, that's not what that means.
That's exactly what that means.
No, usually means that that's generally what you do.
Yeah, but I'm
Like,
going
if you
away from that.
If you usually do, and there's a time that you go away from the norm,
But
then
if you're
that's the time you go away
specifying
from the
it, you're
norm.
meaning I'm going away from it at that point. If
No,
you need to
that's not
point it
true.
out,
Nope, that's not what that means.
that's
Like,
exactly what it means.
Nope. When I say if you usually do something, it means that you do it.
You know what? We'll fight about
Oh
this
my
at
God.
another time. I apologize. This is why I usually don't like to interrupt. I am sorry.
Because you don't actually listen. You don't know what words mean, I guess.
Oh,
Like I said,
God,
you would.
we're
I
gonna
said you
so
would
fight
generally.
off air.
I said, isn't the first thing I said? This isn't what Aries is doing. He's usually more even keel in his nostalgia.
Even
Like
kale?
I said, I flat out said this isn't what Aries is doing. But you don't pay attention, and then you get mad. This is like
God,
last
Jesus.
week when I said I didn't like it in this other movie either, and then after the break you're like, well, how do you like it in this movie and you don't like it in this movie? And I said I didn't like it in either movie. But like you don't listen, and then you get mad.
Okay,
What do you think
let's move
Cody's
on.
doing right now?
Drinking. Napping, maybe. I don't know. Are you still there?
Why I need-
He's click. He's trying to cut the internet on his house, so he has like an excuse to get off the fucking air.
This is why I need Johnny to actually listen, because he's the only one. He's working. He's usually the only one that's not on his fucking phone when everybody else is talking. Oh.
Cody, how about you?
Yeah, I don't even know what's
Right.
going on.
Well, admittedly, I ask too much. I know that for sure. But I will still go ahead and say that is a trick. Now, come Patrick's Day, if you're watching the Sci-Fi Channel, I can't think of a reason not to kind of sit still for this one while the other ones are running too. I think if you watch it as a made-for-television sequel to Leprechaun, I can see getting way more out of it. If you think of it as being a sequel to Leprechaun from a guy who has a potentially sort of interesting voice, don't go in it. Don't go into it with that idea, because that's not what you're going to get. It is a mailed-in Leprechaun sequel, and that is okay, but it is not what I was looking for. So gonna go with it. Just a regular trick.
All right. And finally, I guess I'll go ahead and give mine. And for me, I'm going to go with a tepid treat on this one. I haven't used that one in a while. But I think the fact that this is a tepid treat has to be seen as a success, at least in my eyes. The Leprechaun movies are not good. Like, they're fast food. Like, just to go with Mars's fucking, I had actually written this prior to Mars mentioning McDonald's, but they're fast food. There's no nutritional value. They fill you up. They don't make you feel good about yourself afterwards, Like, we unfortunately didn't get much of Steven Kostanski's personality in this, but that was kind of expected for me, so I wasn't really surprised. There's some good gore gags. There's some inspired shots. So, I think Kostanski elevated this a little bit higher than it probably would have if just, like a director, mystery director one, did it or something like that. And I think by the end of the day, it's a Leprechaun film, and it's definitely the worst film that Steven Kostanski has been a part of. But it's hopefully it's a one for them, one for me kind of deal. Then I'm cool with it because Kostanski's a great director and super creative, and I hope this is just the beginning of him really starting to stretch his directorial legs, so to speak. And obviously, I'd rather him be do the Astron 6 thing, but it seems like from what I know of Astron 6 that's not really in the cards because two of the guys work in the film industry like all the time, Steven Kostanski and Jeremy Gillespie, and the other three kind of dabble, I think, here and there. So it's hard for them to all get together and do something. So I think that if that's going to be the case, I'm okay with Steven Kostanski going off and doing his own thing. And I just hope that he gets a little bit more, creative pull because he's a super creative guy. He's got some great ideas, and they just weren't president of this. I think he may have elevated it a little bit higher than it might have normally been. But once again, at the end of the day, it's a fucking Leprechaun movie, folks. So you kind of get what you expect to come into this, and there's probably varying degrees of what you expect. So just it'll be on Sci-Fi soon enough. You don't want to rent it on VOD. I'm sure you could catch it on Sci-Fi. So tepid treat for me. There you go. We went around. There's a lot of varying thoughts about this. To not good to pretty good. So you're going to have to use your own judgment on this one, folks. We can't tell you what to do. But that is our discussion of Leprechaun Returns. And we need to take a break because we're going to come back and talk about Satan's Slaves. So, MZ, how long until we return?
Hey, we'll be back in 2 and 2.
The following message is a paid advertisement for the Cult of Muscle podcast. The Cult of Muscle. You're either in it or you're dead.
It's the dawning of a new age. The halls of Valhalla have been shuttered. The heroes of yore have either retreated to the shadows or taken to capering for the amusement of the small folk. Their past glories a distant memory. The barbells have been torn from their once puma-strong grips. The beards shorn from their square jaws, only to be transplanted onto flannel-clad, puny weaklings with fingers barely powerful enough to strum a ukulele. The time has come, my brothers, to restore order from the chaos. No longer will our heroes be forgotten. No longer will their great deeds be viewed through a foggy lens of irony. Hear now our rallying cry as we scream it from the mountaintops, as we bellow it from iTunes and Libsyn and Facebook. It's time to join the cult, my brothers. So don your cloaks and enter the Cult of Muscle.
I'm Alex West.
And I'm Andrea Subasati, and we're from the Faculty of Horror podcast.
And you're listening to Trick or Treat Radio.
Oh, delicious nerds. Ms. M knows you like to chat it up with other sexy shut-ins about comics, movies, video games, and your favorite TV shows. If that sounds like you, cuddle up to the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group, or the FIB. That stands for Fan Interaction Board. Just go to Facebook and search for Trick or Treat Radio and have more fun than a Jedi at a lightsaber sale. Not enough? Watch us on YouTube, The Deadites TV, all one word. Last but not least, check out the world's most dangerous talk radio show, Trick or Treat Radio, at trickortreatradio.com.
Thank you guys for having me on. It's a blast. You guys are awesome.
Thank you so much.
And, Trick or Treat Radio, man. That's where it's at. That's the new Fangoria Radio is Trick or Treat Radio.
No.
Don't say that.
That's like, you really put us under.
It's like swearing in church, huh?
You just jinxed us.
Yeah. you put a lot on our shoulders just now.
Well, we can strive for greatness.
You guys are awesome. You really are. You got a great show.
right, we're back on Trick or Treat Radio, and MZ's tired.
Yep. We're going for a ride in a drone.
I don't want to get into it, but we're talking about like the most ridiculous thing about the movie that we didn't mention during the review. Just about how the Leprechaun came back.
Yeah.
It's just so ridiculous. All right, so let me catch up on the chat room. Leanna says, Mars, millennials are the this is you talking. Millennials are the worst generation. Mars later spends half an hour arguing over a fucking Leprechaun movie. Oh, man. And Leanna says, so Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was great. Yeah, I'm really curious to see it. I hope I get a chance to check it out in the theaters, but there's so many movies out there now. So hopefully I get a chance to see it. Have any of you guys seen Into the Spider-Verse?
I have not seen it yet. It is on my to-do list, I guess, yeah.
Anyone out there, Mars or Cody, have you guys seen it?
I have not. I intend to at some point. I have the AMC A list for the time being, and if I can squeeze it in, I will. I'll be doing that.
Yeah, I have it as well, and just booked a couple movies coming up this week, so looking forward to it. Maybe I'll try to fit that in, but it's it's for me to get to the movies like twice in a week is kind of a miracle. So we'll see. It probably won't happen, but I am super curious to check it out, and I hear it's the best Spider-Man movie ever made from a few folks.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's jump in. Do we still have Mars? You there, buddy?
He must be taking a shit.
Maybe. He went for a smoke break. Let me.
I'm trying to. So
he
Aries
is there.
texted me and said not to eat into the microphone, but I'm lying in bed, so I'm not eating, and I'm trying to figure out what's that noise.
I think it's
that
your
he's
beard. I think it's your beard rubbing against the mic.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
We just heard it
probably.
just then.
Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah.
Are you holding the phone up to your head, or do you have like a?
No. I'm on my iPad with my headset on, my headphones on.
Oh, it's probably that. Yeah. All right, so let's jump into this because Raven Shout has a 5 a.m. meeting or something crazy like that, and we did spend almost 90 minutes talking about Leprechaun Returns. So I want to get into Satan's Slaves.
Oh, yawn.
This film, Jesus Christ, man! I haven't even talked about the fucking film yet. This film
I was
from
talking about Raven Shadow, not you.
Come sit
yeah,
down.
sure. This film from 2017 is not rated. It is an hour 47 minutes. It is a drama, horror, mystery, and it is an Indonesian film from Directo Joko Anwar.
Directo
Joko.
Joko Anwar.
Yes. And have any of you guys ever seen any of Joko's films? Are you aware of?
Yeah.
No, you haven't.
It's early stuff.
Yeah, right. And it is. Let's see. It's so it's based on a movie. I'm trying to. It was actually written by Joko Anwar, but based on. Oh, okay, yeah. It's actually a remake. I actually didn't realize that. I thought it was based on another movie, but it is a remake of a 1982 film of the same name, Satan's Slave. So this is called Satan's Slaves.
For what it's worth, I saw it as a remake / prequel to that movie.
Okay. I've actually never seen it. So have you seen the original, Cody?
No, I only learned that this was based on something like 3 hours ago, and I did a search. I found it on YouTube, but it's only in, I guess, Indonesian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but the script was written by Joko Anwar, and it stars Tara Basro, Bront Polare, Dimas Aditya, Andy Arfian, Nassar Anus. Anus
Cosmatos.
Yes. And Ayu Laxmi.
Ayu?
AYU. How would you say that, Raven Shadow? Ayu. And the synopsis: after dying from a strange illness that she suffered for 3 years, a mother returns home to pick up her children.
A little bit more to it than that.
Yeah, it's pretty pretty direct to the point. It's not really telling you much, but I guess it works. So one thing I do want to talk about, Joko Anwar. He is a pretty prolific Indonesian director. He got a start as a journalist and eventually was asked by a producer after doing an article about that producer to help write something. And he ended up going on to win like some Indonesian awards for that script. Let me just find it. Was for Joni's Promise is the name of the film from 2005, originally called Janji Joni. And he ended up like winning some awards for it. So that sort of his first taste. He wrote and directed it as well. And so I've heard of Joko, but I've never seen any of his work. You know, and I've heard some good things. He did a film called Ritual, which I heard some good stuff about from 2012. Oh, yeah. And you know, he did a film called Jakarta Undercover, which got a lot of praise in Indonesia. So you know, he's at least in his home country, a pretty prolific director, and he's gotten a lot of praise from his work. And he also just started directing a series for HBO Asia, so I don't know if that means we can watch it or not, but it's a TV miniseries called Folklore, which sounds really cool. The synopsis of this is: this HBO Asia original horror anthology series features the deeply rooted superstitions and myths across 6 Asian countries, including Indonesia, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand. So that to me, like, that just, you know, that speaks to me because I would love to see that. Like, I love folklore, and all 6 of those countries, at least the ones that I, you know, am more familiar with, have some pretty interesting myth and folklore behind them. So I'm sure that would be super interesting. So I don't know if we'll get a chance to see it here. I don't know if it's going to be on HBO, but I assume if it's HBO Asia, it may not be. So, but that sounds super interesting. So Joko has, you know, like I said, pretty prolific in his country, and one I read some praise about him. So Maggie Lee, this is a quote from Maggie Lee from The Hollywood Reporter. She wrote that Anwar's films would make Hitchcock and Almodovar proud, and mentioned that Joko Anwar accessorizes his creepy suspense horror with a dazzling array of auteur homage. So, you know, like I said, it seems like he gets a fair amount of praise, not only in his home country, but here in America and other places around the world. So, and I had never really, you know, I've heard of his name, but I've never seen his films, and I wanted to familiarize myself with him. And, you know, for me, I was just thinking that this is a Shudder exclusive. You know, Shudder just picked this up and put it out there, and I didn't really know much about it. So, you know, it is kind of interesting because this actually shares some more than a passing similarity to May the Devil Take You, I would say, which obviously was another Indonesian film from Timo Tjahjanto, which we reviewed, you know, about a month ago, maybe. Did any of you guys get that, like, sort of vibe that these were similar stories?
No.
Nothing. Wow. Cody.
I'm sorry, I was talking on mute. I think it was an architecture thing that reminded me more than anything. Like, not necessarily.
I almost got a bloody nose from just like laughing out of my nose at that fucking reaction. Jesus Christ.
Not any discernible way. Like, for me.
Well,
like just the way the house looked, I guess.
Did you guys watch the movie? Like, it's about a fucking family member who something happens to, and then like there's possessions and other stuff happening to the rest of the family. Do you guys watch the fucking movie?
Are you telling us or you're asking us? I mean, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
You know,
Then say something, Raven Shadow.
I'm trying to post a link.
What are you posting a link for?
Someone's asking about it.
At fucking 12
You know how to
a.m.
And you know how to post a link?
I'm figuring. I'm doing.
He doesn't. That's why.
He's gonna be busy all night.
Is it trickortreatradio.com?
Give him a 15-piece puzzle. He'll be busy for an hour.
That's numbered. Yeah, no, I mean, it's not that I don't understand what you say, Johnny. I just think that
you just don't care. I got it.
There's a way to, well, generally I don't care, but there's a way to, there's an interesting way to tell a story, which maybe is May the Devil Take You, and then there's this way. And I, for my sensibilities, I didn't. This just didn't jump out the screen with me. Now, to be fair, and I've kind of downplayed this because I didn't want to compromise any of my bookings or anything else. And I don't even know if Wolfie knows. But I've been
bookings?
I've done a bunch of stuff this week that even I can't talk about. And I didn't want anybody to think that
in very Indonesian specific.
No, and I didn't want anybody to. Don't you have a 5 a.m. meeting to go to? And I didn't. I didn't want anybody to think that I couldn't do what they were expecting me to do or paying me to do. But I've been like battling a oppressive sinus infection. Like they've tried 2 different antibiotics. And it's just now getting a little better, and I still have a tremendous amount of pressure. And it didn't do this movie any favors for me. So I will give that. I don't want to say caveat, but I will give that thing to say that maybe a lot of my disinterest came from that. It was literally hard for me to watch. Of no fault of its own, but today I rewatched it and didn't like it that much either. So I guess maybe I'm full of shit.
All right, so this. I mean, I guess we got to kind of like get through this fairly quickly. So I'm not going to break down the whole plot of the movie. We'll talk in generalizations about it, and then we'll get into sort of thoughts about it. But to me, right from the bat, this had a big 70s feel to it, this film. And I love that.
Yeah, I agree.
That's fair.
Like just the camera work, the slow zooms in, the titles, the score, the look.
I agree.
It was very 70s.
I agree.
And I think it fit the material exceptionally well. So that set a really nice tone for me. And it had me hooked right from the beginning because of that, because I just was in. It had me in, had its hooks in. So I really loved it, and I love that there was some great, I wouldn't even, foreshadowing might be too subtle a word, but with the bell, like, I guess maybe there's a thing to films now, like Ghost Clap comes to mind, where like there's a gimmick, and it's sort of like Chekhov's gun, where you show it early and often, and then it has like a strong effect later on. I knew obviously immediately that this bell was going to play heavily into the story, which it clearly did. And part of me liked that, and part of me wished that it wasn't so obvious, I guess.
I didn't mind it being so obvious.
Yeah,
because that really wasn't the big thing that I was gearing towards in this film.
Yeah.
The big thing I was gearing towards in this film was scares, and this movie delivered that.
Yeah, it definitely. Yeah, I think it definitely delivered the scares for sure. Now that's a subjective thing, of course, and
sure.
When we were talking about May the Devil Take You, you had said that you weren't scared at all of that, MZ, right?
No.
If I recall correctly.
Yep.
So this one worked for you in terms of the scares.
The scares in this movie were really, really well done, very well timed out. At times you think everything is back to normal, and then boom, you're not, and you never know where it's going to come and get you. And I mean, you were talking about the bell. I think the idea of the bell, like you thought it was overdone, that it was too heavy-handed.
Well, I didn't say that. I didn't think it was too overdone, but I guess it just made me think of how films these days use that sort of gimmick, and I knew early on that it was gonna be a big part of it. That didn't necessarily bother me, but even still, when you hear that ding ding ding, like the ring of the bell, every time it got me though. So it was effective.
But the ghost clap in what is it? Was it The Conjuring that has the ghost clap? Yeah. That did nothing for me. I don't know what it is about Asian horror films.
And this is a very sort of Asian horror film too. Yeah.
I don't know what it is about Asian horror films that fucking scare the shit out of me. I don't know what it is.
You're ghost racist.
I don't.
Wow.
See, I thought these scares were like a little too spoon fed. Like they were just like the music was scary.
Oh yeah,
If you could get scared from this movie without even looking at it because of the music, just out of the sheer, all of a sudden there's boom.
Oh sure, the musical cues.
There's a noise.
I
and
agree.
that was more shocking than the visual aspect.
I agree. The musical cues would kind of give it away if you're like, just watching it. But man, I'm watching this movie and I am dialed in. Okay.
Yeah, I was dialed in too.
I was really dialed in because of the location, because of the house, because of the just the way the house looks on the inside,
and the camera work was exceptional. For
me.
I
mean, there's this one scene, or one location, I should say, where they're going through a doorway and they're going up a flight of stairs, and it's just the way that camera is set up, where the steps are up on the right hand side while the camera's on the left hand side.
Yep.
And there's just something very eerie about that. And being in I'm imagining in an old house or whatever. But the musical cues, I mean, to a lot of people that could give it away. To me, it's just anticipation of what's to come. And while to some that might not be a very good thing, to me, the way they draw it out, you never know when it's going to come. It's like Jason coming out of the water. You get that. You don't have a crescendo of music hitting you, and then Jason pops out. No, it happens. It happens when you least expect it, and that's what this movie delivers. And I love that.
And to be fair, like this film was consistent too. So it wasn't that some of them where it had like a stinger where it was like. It was consistent in the way that it did scares, and I appreciated that.
Your stinger is awesome.
Oh, wow.
I'm scared now.
But I think that it was, that it played it that way, and the consistency I think really helped because I'm not a big fan of jump scares, and I felt that the scares in this were able to build nicely, where there was some suspense and then nothing happened. It wasn't that stinger where it was just like, okay, now jump, like, so for me, I think they worked in that sense. And, we've sort of talked about this on the show that not much scares me. I think I'm kind of desensitized to it, but I definitely had a nice creep factor for this, throughout this movie, which I appreciated.
And the last Indonesian film that we reviewed, like we talked about, what was it called again?
May the Devil Take You.
May the Devil Take You, yeah. Like I said, I didn't like that one too much. And I was talking about how I was getting tired of the whole, the long-haired, dark-haired
Well, you got to hear again.
I got to hear again. And
to be fair, Asians have dark hair.
That's very true. That's very true. So, to be perfectly honest, I really can't distinguish what it is that this movie had that movie did not have, because they're both in a sense the same thing. Maybe
it was just
almost
told
opposite,
better. Right?
Huh?
Like at the end of the day, they were almost sensibility-wise opposite. Like, not for nothing, that other movie had a fucking tiger come to life in it.
True,
like that.
true,
Like,
yeah.
Like it was like this movie. While the musical cues put it on the wrong side of subtle, like I feel like, because I mean like Aries put it perfectly when he said spoon-fed, which is to say, Aries, that you're right. We don't fight about it.
Oh,
what are you trying to say?
Timestamp
means he's hungry.
Timestamp. But I mean, like, if whatever the very more raw bombasticness of that other film didn't resonate with you, then it's not unrealistic that this more, I don't know if even subdued is it was just real different. I guess maybe opposite's not fair, but maybe you hate tigers. I don't know.
This is set in 81, right? Is that the...
I believe so. And actually, Leanna made a point. She says, yeah, agreed. It was pretty 70s, although the movie is a period piece, right? And yeah, it definitely. I don't know. Was it 81?
I think it was said that it had the 1981 when it first came on.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah,
I think it was 83.
They said this movie is set in 1981, 1 year before the original movie was set.
Yeah.
This movie is a prequel to the 1982 cult classic with the same title.
They had Viewmasters, which I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be fair, when they go off the beaten path in a Raid 2, like I feel like Indonesia still kind of looks like that. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we get a good setup here with this, and I think that it's one theme of this is not only is this creepy to watch on screen, but it's also fucking scary when your loved ones deteriorate to the point where you're making plans for them to die. That
Right.
in and of itself, I think, is scary enough.
And it's something that everyone can relate to, too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like you might not get, I'm pretty sure Freddy's not going to fucking come in your dreams, but
Right.
you're going to encounter this at some point.
Right, so everyone is gonna go through this at some point, and I thought that
I've
was
been going through it for 6 years.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. And that's not a fun thing to have happen, as Mars can speak to.
Because even down with like when the son was like combing her hair.
Yeah.
and was falling out, and but that was his ritual. That was his ritual with the mother.
Right. Yeah. Everyone has their sort of thing that they do, and
their jobs.
Yeah. So not only was the way it was filmed creepy, but there's just something really scary about that sort of pending moment where you're just waiting. Like like it's still a little fresh for me, but like with my cat Bootsy, like I knew she was sick. I knew she was on borrowed time. I knew it was just a matter of time, and I could come home at any time and just find her there.
Right. I think mortality is one of the scariest things.
Yeah. So it is. We're faced with that mortality, not our own, but other people and people that we love, and that's just a scary concept, and I think that works. Like on multiple levels, and I think everyone can relate to that.
Are those sheets rubber?
Why you want some of those?
I could use some.
In the sexy speakeasy?
Yeah, I'm gonna sleep on tops.
Tops?
Tops.
On top or tarp?
Well, listen, I'm in some weird shit. I'll do fucking both. Why don't you come over? Watch a movie in my house. See what
You want
happens.
some rubber sheets?
Yeah, man. Christmas is coming.
Codeine.
But you're not.
No,
Is Codeine still there?
Yeah, Codine's there.
I'm here.
Why do you call him Codeine?
We're fucking trying to make him stop. He won't stop.
Did I miss that?
Well, yeah, it was before you get on. I asked him what he wanted us to call him because we call him Nathan Cotton Coy Vance Duke, and he said Cody's fine, and so MZ says I'm going to call you Codeine.
You're an asshole.
Are you just figuring that out now?
No, I don't. Like, there's two people in that room I like a lot, and they're diagonal from each other, I think.
Who? MZ and Raven Shadow?
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say.
I feel like that's an L, but I'm not up on my geometry. So.
Yeah, apparently.
So, there's right off the bat. I mean, there's some scary imagery, and there's some scary themes that are being dealt with here, and I think it's no secret because we even mentioned it in the synopsis. But the mother dies fairly early into this, and there was that cool scene where it was foreshadowed because the daughter saw a vision or a dream of it happening, and then it actually happens, and in your head you're thinking she had a premonition of how it was going to happen, and then it sort of kept you guessing, are they going to do what happened in the dream or are they not? And I just thought that was really effective because it sort of trained your brain to think one thing, and then is that going to happen or is it not? And I thought that was super cool. And every time you hear that fucking bell, you're like, oh fuck,
And it's also the use of the sound of the bell too. Like if you how far you are away from that bell ringing. If it's really distant or if it's really close, I don't know. There's something about that just really sent a chill down my spine. That where the use of sound in this movie played a pretty big part in this movie.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's. I think there's a lot of other things that we could probably discuss about this, but I want to get Cody's thoughts. Cody, not Cody. And I want to get Cody's thoughts on this flick here because he did help us pick this one. We gave him a list of a few flicks, and so I guess Cody, what made you decide to pick this flick first, and then give us some thoughts about it?
I saw the trailers for the things that I had sort of at my disposal, and this looked like the most interesting thing to me.
Yeah.
And I think I made the right choice. I enjoyed it a good amount. It's definitely a little long in the tooth. Like no way this needs to be in excess of 100 minutes. But I did enjoy it. It kind of especially the first I don't know, say hour or so, kind of felt like an Indonesian, like a Conjuring movie or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just it felt very familiar, which I thought was interesting. I'm not I don't have a huge knowledge of contemporary Indonesian horror or really any Indonesian horror or anything like that. But it was interesting to watch something that felt so familiar in that way. It was just an interesting experience. It was good and spooky, I thought. I mean, the scares, most of it is you could say they're sort of paint by numbers, but they worked for me. Yeah, absolutely. There's one kill in there, or death, I guess, that really stands out with the rest of the movie.
Was it the motorcycle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
That was pretty fucking brutal.
Yeah, I definitely had been like watching a haunted house movie.
Yeah, definitely not the kind of death you would expect in a movie like this.
No,
like 85 minutes in, you get somebody splattered pretty good, and I thought, wow.
Especially when you have like that one of the more effective scenes, that one shot where they find the grandma.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you put me there and then jumped full like to that, I would have thought I was watching a different movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
because the dude's face definitely gets dragged across concrete.
Right.
Yeah, definite road rash.
Yeah, that was pretty fucking brutal. And I love the setup to it, like someone just fucking runs across the road, and obviously it was, there was something more to it, but yeah, I just thought that was, sort of was a surprise and kind of came out of nowhere, and you still you didn't really know what to think of Hendra. That was the character who was involved in the motorcycle accident, because the motives weren't set at this point, so I didn't know quite what to think about him or his dad, and so I thought that was sort of an interesting of oh, okay, I think his story's over now.
Yeah, kind of puts it kind of ends decisively.
Yeah, exclamation point on it for sure. Yeah. So that was it was cool to see this sort of change of pace here and there with with things like that and some of the gore and some of the scares. I thought that really sort of helped it along, and I thought the runtime was fine, but for someone who like Cody, who thinks that the runtime might have went a little bit too long, I think those moments really helped kind of move it along, and so that it didn't sort of have this even keel throughout.
Yeah, it made for sort of an interesting mix. I definitely, like I said, I think it could have stood to be a little shorter, but I was never bored at any point, for sure. I definitely enjoyed myself the whole way through.
Yeah, definitely. And the kids in this movie get fucking terrorized. There's some there's that scene where is it Ian was the youngest one, I believe?
Yeah.
Where he ends up leaving the bedroom to go down the hallway, and he gets caught on a nail. That scene was fucking brutal.
Are you talking about the
hands in the door?
Oh, that the door? No, I'm thinking of the scene with the bed sheet.
The bed sheet
in front of the picture.
Oh, the kids throw the sheet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That. Oh my God.
There was a couple really good ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of nail play in 2018.
Yes, there was some nail play in this. Yeah, but there was that scene. There was the one where Ian was sort of holding on. He was being sucked sort of back, and he was holding on, waiting, and waiting for his brother to come save him. I thought there was a couple real effective scenes like that, and It's interesting because we have the father in this played by Bront Palleray, and I thought his character was pretty cool, but it was interesting that he sort of disappeared for a little while, and obviously he kind of didn't really know what the fuck was going on because he wasn't around, and I thought that was kind of negligent, and I kind of wonder how much he knew about this whole plot, if any. Like, I actually thought it was super interesting that, we'll talk a little bit about it. I don't want to give too much away, but there definitely is a cult. I'm just trying to think if it's a spoiler if I say what kind of a cult it is. Is that spoiler?
Is it a cult of personality?
No.
Wow.
I won't say, but
I think it might be a spoiler.
Yeah, but the revelation of like the ages of the kids, like that whole thing, I thought was super interesting. Like
that was fucking cool.
Yeah, and how like they were trying, like there was a deal made in this, and how they were trying to circumvent that deal, I thought was really interesting and really cool. And and then when it kind of was coming to fruition, it's like, oh shit, okay, now I get it, and there was some twists and turns in this, and but I really love that revelation of, like I don't want to say too much, but about how far apart the kids' ages were, and how they were trying to kind of game the system, so to speak. I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
And I had never heard of a cult like this. Obviously I didn't at the time, had never seen Satan's Slave, the 1982 film. So I'm sure it's discussed there, but I've never seen a film that deals with this kind of cult, which I thought.
Yeah, I wonder how much
cool.
of that is ruined by if you had saw the other one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I had no fucking idea.
Right.
Like
right.
I don't like even like it was so not a thing that even when that stuff started to like, it actually reminded me of. I mentioned it before, Hereditary, in a way where, like, when all that shit starts to happen, like, it was I was like, what movie am I watching? Like I felt like it wasn't like it ain't a good way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like I wonder if like you would sit down and know that that's where this was going if you had seen the other one.
Based on what I've read, and which isn't just a ton, it seems like the biggest thing you'd come away with from the first one is there is a significance to the very end of the movie that would have, that you'd pick up having seen the first one.
And
there's like a revelation that I guess I didn't quite get.
And that makes sense. I do want to actually go see the 1982 film, because the ending for me, it did not that it fell flat, but it seemed a little like odd, and I was like, well, that's an interesting way to end it. But now that I know it was a prequel, I actually didn't know it was a prequel. I thought it was just a remake. So that is interesting, and I'm sure that is an even cooler revelation now, if you've seen the original film. So that actually, sort of helps. I didn't really have an issue with it, but I just thought it was like, okay, that's an interesting decision to end it that way. But I think that's pretty cool. I definitely want to check that out now. And I think that, the director, Joko Anwar, I think that he really has a really strong eye for subtlety and the creep factor. And I think he really nails the shots for maximum effect. Like these very simple shots, he was able to, get the maximum of creep and tension out of them just by very subtle movements of the camera. And even some of the ways that he sort of, like had the camera move, kind of horizontally in like a, like a half circle sort of thing. Like there's some scenes where that occurs, and I thought that was really cool as well. So yeah, I think he added a lot to this, based on his direction. And I personally want to go dig up more of his stuff, because I was really, really impressed with the way he directed it. And I don't know if you guys caught this, but there was a Tro de Rope line in this. Did you
Yes,
guys?
yeah.
When they were in the well, he's like, "Try the rope."
It's a tragedy. Tiny's not here.
I know this is
Real
like
life tragedy.
this is like the perfect show for Tiny, and he's not
Yeah.
here. But and there was one of the scenes I fucking loved was when the dad was out in the rain. And he's like, "Come forward, fight me!" Like, I just thought that was like so badass and like spoke to, even though he was kind of like maybe not the best dad. There were I thought
kids.
Yeah, but it makes sense why there were so many kids. But I thought that was like don't fuck with my family, and I just thought that was
Right.
a really cool moment.
The Indonesian culture does this thing where they manage to have these like very. There's just something about the way. I don't know, like it's just presented in a way. Like I feel like there are these very masculine moments that are handled with so much heart. They almost like transcend the way they would be in like another culture's films.
Raven Show, you said 12:30. It's 12:12.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Raven Show's gotta go.
I gotta go. I had a long
You
day.
falling asleep?
Yeah, I gotta get up early. It sucks.
All right, we'll give you a verdict.
I'm running out of fumes. Yeah.
You better fucking text us. You're gonna fucking drive off the road.
Am I happy?
Yeah.
Why don't you sleep in the other room?
I'm not even drinking, which sucks.
Raven Shed, I'm nearby. There's plenty of room in this bedroom.
Yeah.
Ooh, the podcast.
I'll even put up a top.
Oh, I like that. I got one of the trunk.
You're just gonna push the Cheetos out of the way.
I don't have any Cheetos. I took a picture and showed you.
He wants them though.
Yeah, and once again, I think it's not entirely this film's fault. But
Jesus Christ,
it wasn't. I wasn't in the mindset to really dive deep into this. But hey, it was a fucking movie.
Oh my God! You just get out of here.
All right.
Jesus Christ.
Cody's good hanging out, man. Be cool.
So
You too, sir.
All right.
Trick or treat.
Radio. We doing what is that?
And there you have it, the 15-minute review.
Yeah, there you go, Leanna.
Right.
It's done.
That'll bring us up to 12:30. No, it's say people like this stuff. It's fucking for them. It's a type of treat for me. No wait, it's barely a trick because it wasn't for me.
Wow. You better fucking go
Just
to
go
bed.
home.
Just sleep in your car.
Just go. Just go.
All right.
Sleep in your car. Ollie will be fine.
I miss him.
He's gonna be pissed at
I'm
you.
gonna give him a smooch. All right, Bambaleo, live fast, love hard, die with your mask on.
See ya.
Wouldn't want to be.
All right, so I think we're starting to wind down here, anyways, because it's getting a little late. But I think the last thing that I'll say about that I have from my notes that I can talk about that's not spoilerific was when a certain character starts talking. I thought that scene was fucking pretty creepy. I mean, maybe it's kind of obvious if you've seen the movie, or if you haven't, but I just don't want it to, be too much of a spoiler. But there's a character who says something at the end I thought was really cool, and I really did like the what do they call them, the followers, the sort of cult, as they sort of amass around the house, like very nondescript. They have umbrellas over their head covering, and all you can see are hands and like black suits, basically. I just thought that was a really cool visual. It was kind of like almost like a stark contrast to the visual of the cult members in The Void, like with the white, the white, like hoods and everything. Whereas this was almost the opposite of that in a way, where you had all black with their heads covered with the umbrella, which I just thought was a really cool visual, having them all appearing around the house. So I thought that was pretty badass. All right. Well, does anyone else have anything before we head to the verdict on this? Anything they really want to discuss? No?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go to the verdict on this baby.
Trick or treat, baby. I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, verdict time. We'll let you know whether this flick is a trick or a treat and any final thoughts we may have. Let's go in reverse order. And I thought this movie was a fucking treat. I really love this, actually. And, when I saw it pop up onto Shudder, I'd heard some people saying, "Oh, you got to see Satan Slaves. You got to see Satan Slaves," and I don't know why. I just sort of wrote it off and didn't really think much of it. And so I'm glad that you ended up picking this, Cody, because I definitely would have seen it at some point, but I'm glad that I got a chance to see it now because I really dug it. I just thought that it was, in a way, it was a bit of a convoluted story. Like there was a lot going on. There's the mother who's an, we didn't even get into the mother being an artist and a singer, but Mars, they even talk about how, by the way, that fucking beard is killing me, man. your beard on the mic is killing me. But at the beginning they talk about the record label and how they're not going to get any more royalties and stuff like that. I thought that was sort of a interesting sort of discussion that if we were only talking about this movie could have sort of spiraled into a discussion about music in general.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. So there was a kind of a densely packed story here, but it was told in a very simple way where it wasn't too convoluted and you didn't get lost with what was going on, but there was a lot of moving parts. So I think that was really sort of smart, there was a lot to it, but it moved at a good pace and didn't leave you behind. So I did really enjoy the story. I thought this was a perfect amalgamation of direction, of story, of audio, the sound cues, the score, everything just really worked and was on point with this flick. And it makes me definitely want to go check out some more of Joko Anwar's work because I was really impressed with how he, sort of had a mastery of the camera and what he was doing. So definitely want to check out more. I think this is a huge treat, and this is going to be tough. This might break the top 13. We'll have to see. It's sort of in the discussion right now. So yeah. And that's tough to do this year. So yeah, big time treat for me with Satan Slaves. So let's go to Cody.
Oh yeah, treat for me as well. It was I will definitely be interested in checking out more of his stuff. Like I said earlier, it didn't really rock the boat when it came to any of the scares. I think I said it was kind of paint by numbers when it came to a few of them, because it didn't reinvent the wheel, but he made it look very easy and it was very effective. It was good, creepy stuff. I honestly don't get too badly spooked by most stuff myself anymore.
Yeah.
But this did the trick for me a few different times. There's a really good I'm trying to think how to phrase it. There's a bit that kind of hinges on a sound. The sound of someone's voice.
Oh, yes.
The first 30, 40 minutes, something like that. One of the scarier things I've seen in a movie this year for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely a treat.
All right, Mars Man.
I hate to almost echo what Raven Shadow says, but it took me so many times to actually feel like I watched this movie, despite the fact I looked at it a couple of times. In fact, the second time I watched it, or maybe I started it and rewatched it again, only watched it halfway and restarted it. I actually tried to watch the dub version because my head was hurting so bad I couldn't read subtitles. And don't do that. Don't ever do that. It's almost like it's like when you watch one of those old movies where they overdub something to be funny with funny voices or whatever, or making fun of a kung fu movie. It may be the worst dub in a movie that I've ever seen. The voice acting that they chose, and it's really bad. I almost want to abstain from rating it because this movie couldn't fucking get any traction with me. As I'm dealing with the deteriorating health of my father, not even 10 months shy of dealing with the deteriorating health of Kim's father, and then 10 months behind that with Kim's mother, and then still losing my mother and my grandmother within like a year of each other, both in the same way. Like, I don't. We broached this on my old other podcast, but I just can't do movies about that. I'm glad that I was afraid that it was going to be like, this is going to sound awful, but I was afraid she wasn't going to die. Like, I was afraid that was going to be something going on in the movie throughout the whole thing.
Yeah,
I just can't.
And that's
I just
almost
can't
scarier.
I just can't fucking do it. Like, I can't watch it. And as I, and then like there was just a lot in this movie that was too close to home for me right now, that it just fucking really, bothered me. To like, in a way that it was distracting from the movie. I do think that I didn't think it was too long. And there's a few things here that I felt so shitty. I was almost willing to take the hazing that would have come with me not watching a movie for the first time ever. But like, there was a few things that brought me back in every time, like the revelations, like the motorcycle scene, like the likability of a couple of, that's not a word, how much I enjoyed a couple of the characters. And how despite the fact that even in the dub version, where it was impossible to be like kind of vested in anyone, like, there was a few characters that were so fucking likable. It was like, I was into it. The script, I thought, was the dialogue, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it, in character interaction, I thought was really good. I don't know, it didn't work for me. I'm hesitant to call it a treat, but if somebody, a trick rather, but if somebody made me rate it right now, it would be a trick. But I think at the end of the day, I don't think that I am able to give this movie a fair chance. Like, because if you look at a movie this year, like Taste of Phobia, or there was another one that I just fucking really had a hard time getting through, but then eventually did. I didn't hate this movie. I just wasn't feeling this movie, I guess. So
all right,
that's that.
All right, MZ.
When you were mentioning about the umbrellas and the people in the black, dressed up in black, I tried to think about what I know. I've seen that look before, and it came to me. It was drawings from Edward Gorey.
Oh yeah,
so
I can see that totally. Yeah.
So I'm thinking,
yeah,
maybe,
nice pull.
So I'm thinking maybe a little Edward Gorey was had a little inspiration in this, and not to mention as far as the sound goes in this movie is awesome. I mean, there's the bell that's a given. But I just remembered also the asthma breathing as well, which was super creepy. And speaking as someone who has asthma, I can certainly attest to you that can be quite jarring.
Yep.
That happened to me this week.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, my upper respiratory system shut down.
Oh,
like, because it just swelled, like the infection closed it up. Like, I had to breathe through my mouth.
I know the feeling. I've been there. I know the feeling. I think the scares in this movie were very well placed and well timed out. Good pacing on that. I thought the score was pretty good. I paid attention to the score this time around. I thought the score was pretty decent. Performances all around were really, really good too. It also deals with something that we all deal with or have dealt with, and that's the loss of an elder family member, and that all bites the big one. But I'm tired.
Well, wrap it up so we can finish.
Okay, so yeah, this was quite an enjoyable film. A little splash of violence here and there never hurt anybody, and I did enjoy this. The scares were great. This is a treat.
All right, Let's wrap it up with Aries.
Oh God! You know what? I hate the fact that you made me go last for this movie because.
Oh no, Raven Shadow. It's his fault because he was gonna go.
He was going to go last,
Yep.
but okay, well. So I'll smack him later, because for the entirety of this review, I couldn't figure out whether you guys were fucking with me, I wasn't getting something, or I watched the wrong movie.
You watched the wrong movie.
I watched the wrong movie. There was no fucking subtitles in the one I watched.
Well, or did you watch the right movie with no subtitles?
Oh no, I watched the right movie.
Oh,
but there
okay.
were no subtitles.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
How do you get?
What?
But I sat through the whole motherfucking movie.
I think the subtitles were some of the
watch?
best that I've ever read.
Huh.
I'll have to take your word for that.
They really were. They were
Because
really easy to read this time.
There wasn't
around.
a single fucking word in the movie I watched.
Wow.
I was like, these motherfuckers are fucking with me. I'm like, I don't think they understand when I say I don't like subtitles. Don't get rid of the subtitles. Like,
Well, there was a character named Tony, so you probably could have understood that.
Fast Tony.
Oh my God. Yeah. So like the overall
Wow.
plot, like I can't really comment on that because I don't know what the fuck was going on. But like as I stated before, some of the scares were a little just too spoon fed, but there were some that were gradually built and done very well. As Wolfie stated with the closet, I thought that was done great. And MZ, you said with the sheet, I thought that was great. So there were aspects of this movie that were great. I probably will try to take the time and watch this with the subtitles and get the full feeling of this movie. But all in all, this movie, from what I gathered from it, this is a treat.
There you go.
Did you watch it on your phone?
Excuse me?
Did you watch it on your phone or on your tablet?
No, I watched it on the TV.
Weird. Yeah, that's weird because I do have trouble trying to watch. Trying to watch some movies on the system that we all have on my phone with subtitles. The subtitles don't come true unless I use an actual media player.
I don't know if I just didn't turn them on or something, but
Probably because there are subtitles, but you know what? A for effort. That seems to be the the theme of the night. A for effort. So, well, that is going to wrap up our discussion about Satan's Slaves. It is available on Shudder. It's a Shudder exclusive. So if you got that service, then go ahead and check that out. Now, next week we don't have a guest lined up. I think we're just going to kind of play it cool. Last show of the year before we do the year end. You know, because we got to record 2 podcasts next week, so maybe we'll try to. Tupac? What? I said 2 podcasts, you asshole.
Tupac.
Tupac. So, anyways, next week, I don't know if we're going to have a guest. As of now, we do not have one, and I think we're going to keep it that way. But we're going to do a film that Mars is really excited about from the creators of Wolf Cop, Super Grid.
Nice.
You've been looking forward to this one, Mars, right?
You
don't remember, do you?
No, I do, but I thought we weren't doing it. Like, I can't remember what got nixed.
Well, you wanted to do it. So it's directed by Lowell Dean, the director of Wolf Cop and another Wolf Cop, and it stars Leo Fafford, who plays Wolf Cop. So,
and it's got Christian in it.
Oh, yeah. I think Christian is in it.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Oh, yeah, Jay Rezzo is Curtis. So there you go. So, yeah, we're going to do Super Grid, and it is now available on VOD. And then we're also, just because it's around the holidays, we got to fit a Christmas movie in. We seem to do it every year. And we're going to be doing a film from Artsploitation Films, Christmas Blood. This one looks pretty interesting. So that is
so
also...
we're not doing Snowflake. That's what it is. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
God damn it. That's the other one I was excited for.
Well, I mean, there's always next year, Mars.
Well, it won't make my list then.
Could make your list next year.
It won't. I can't. That's why Psychopaths isn't on my list this year. Commune.
So we're going to do Super Grid and Christmas Blood, our last December double feature cram jam. If you guys are interested, want to play along at home, feel free to watch those. If you want to send in your thoughts, feel free to do so. Podcast at trickortreatradio.com. We love hearing your voice, but you can also send in an email as well. And if you go to trickortreatradio.com and click on, we have a link right there on the front page. Just click on contact and leave a voicemail, and it brings you right to the website so that you can actually leave a voicemail right from the site. So I think that works on mobile now as well. So if you don't want to send an actual email, go to trickortreatradio.com, click on contact, leave a voicemail. You can do it that way. So looking forward to that, last show of the year. And then we will be compiling our year-end films, our top 13s. And we'll be doing that for the year-end show, which will drop on January 1st. So the first day of the year, you're going to kick it off with us. So that is, that's what's going on next week. So we do have one voicemail. And get everything set up, make sure it's not muted like last time. So we're going to cut to that voicemail, and we're going to hear from our boy, First Time Mike.
The Boy Who Laughed at Santa Claus by Ogden Nash. In Baltimore, there lived a boy. He wasn't anybody's joy. Although his name was Jabez Dawes, his character was full of flaws. In school, he never led his classes. He had old ladies' reading glasses. His mouth was open when he chewed, and elbows to the table glued. He stole the milk of hungry kittens, and walked through doors marked no admittance. He said he acted thus because he said there wasn't any Santa Claus. Another trick that tickled Jabez was crying boo at little babies. He always brushed his teeth, they said in town, sideways instead of up and down. Yet people pardoned every sin, and viewed his antics with a grin, till they were told by Jabez Dawes, there isn't any Santa Claus. Deploring how he did behave, his parents swiftly sought their grave. They hurried through the portals pearly, and Jabez left the funeral early. Like whooping cough from child to child, he sped to spread the rumor wild. Sure as my name is Jabez Dawes, there isn't any Santa Claus. Slunk like a weasel or a martin through nursery and kindergarten, whispering low to every tot, there isn't any, no there's not. The children wept all Christmas Eve, and Jabez chortled up his sleeve. No infant dared to hang up his stocking, for fear of Jabez' ribald mocking. He sprawled on his untidy bed, fresh malice dancing in his head, when presently with a scalp a-tingling, Jabez heard a distant jingling. He heard the crunch of sleigh and hoof, crispy alighting on the roof. What good to rise and bar the door? A shower of soot was on the floor. What was beheld by Jabez Dawes? The fireplace full of Santa Claus. Then Jabez fell upon his knees with cries of don't and pretty please. He howled, I don't know where you read it, but anyhow I never said it. Jabez replied, the angry saint, it isn't I, it's you that ain't. Although there is a Santa Claus, there isn't any Jabez Dawes. Said Jabez with impudent vim, oh yes there is, and I am him. Your magic don't scare me, it doesn't. And suddenly he found he wasn't. From grimy feet to grimy locks, Jabez became a jack-in-the-box, an ugly toy with springs unsprung, forever sticking out his tongue. The neighbors heard his mournful squeal. They searched for him, but not with zeal. No trace was found of Jabez Dawes, which led to thunderous applause. And people drank a loving cup, and went and hung their stockings up. All you who sneer at Santa Claus, beware the fate of Jabez Dawes, the saucy boy who mocked the saint. Donder and Blitzen licked off his paint. Well, I think the moral of that story is, you can push Santa Claus, but don't push Santa Claus too far. He's going to step on your neck. But, in all seriousness, wanted to bring some class of proceedings. This is First Time Mike wishing you all, from my family to yours, the merriest of Christmas, the happiest of holidays. Love you all. Wishing you all the best. Hope you get what you want. And have a good one, guys. Merry Christmas to all. And to all, a good night. Bye.
Yeah.
Awesome. First time, Mike.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. That was fun. I'd never heard that before. Yeah. Don't fuck with Santa. He'll fuck you up, MZ.
Yeah. Well.
I like this lineup. Can we keep this lineup?
Get rid of Raven Shadow and keep Cody?
Oh, man. It'd be so good. Yep. If you ever want to see why we're so fucking different, I'm literally like couldn't get out of bed and still, still on the fucking show, and he left early. So, well, he's here. But he's here now. But he's soft.
All right, we're gonna wrap things up here. So Nathan Cotton Coy Vance Duke, man, it was fucking awesome having you on, buddy.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're the fucking best.
Is I obviously I know you don't have your own podcast. Is there anything out there though? Is there anything you wanna promote? Whether it's something you've been digging, whatever you got a platform here, man.
Oh hell no, I think I'm good. I don't do shit. I just listen to y'all's podcast. But I do appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah, of course, man, and looking forward to maybe we'll hear you again on the Cult one of these days. But it's
I love those episodes.
Yeah, it was always fun hearing you on the Cult of Muscle. So if you guys out there have never listened to the Cult of Muscle and liked hearing Cody,
go
check out his appearances on the Cult of Muscle. So there you go. If you can't get enough Cody in your life, you got some more to look forward to. So
out there somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can just go down to the deep woods of North Kakalaki and just yell for him, and maybe he'll show up.
That's right. I mean, my dog minions will all run out of the
out of the well.
I picture Cody's existence like Mandy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Is there some like crazy evil near you that you know of, Cody?
As my landlord.
Oh, there you go. So, well, all right. We'll go around the room and MZ.
Yeah, Arrivederci, douchebags, and Merry Christmas.
Aries.
Goodbye.
And no holiday wishes.
No.
Marsman.
I'm always really negative, so I'm going to say something really positive. First of all, Cody is one of my favorite people on earth. On the Cult, he is usually he's so well spoken that I enjoy the fact that I generally disagree with him on most things.
He's very easy to argue with.
Yeah. I like it, but I don't. This is my one a year, so timestamp as Raven Shades would say. I don't think I could have done anything else for this amount of time with how I feel than hang out with you guys. So thank you for getting me through the night, and it's a pleasure. And wherever you go fuck yourselves.
Wow, you're like Mr. Christmas over there. You don't even say anything.
Christmas. Yeah, I hate Christmas now. I hate it.
Christmas.
When they start taking away your house and stuff, you don't like it as much.
Yeah, it's true, I guess.
Yeah, when there's no chimney.
When there's no more chimney in hell. All right, so that is going to do it. And episode 334, I want to thanks everyone for hanging out. We had a bunch of people hanging out in the chat room. It's good to see some old faces, Riku, Liana. We had Evil Corny hanging out, of course, and some other folks, so appreciate it. And obviously it was great having Cody on, and always love hearing from you, buddy. So, if you ever want to hang out again, let us know, and we'll figure it out. If there's ever another Leprechaun movie.
Oh yeah, if y'all are ever looking for a guest, add me to your rotation.
The roster.
Oh yeah.
It's like the extended like Justice League, right, Mars?
No, it's much better than that.
All right. So happy holidays to everybody out there. I don't know when people are going to hear this, but this is sort of the Christmas Yule week. So some people will be celebrating and listening to this. So there you go. And we will be back next week for episode 335. As I mentioned, we're going to be talking about Super Grid and also, what was the other one? Christmas Blood. That's it. So we look forward to next week. And I don't know. I need a catchphrase. I always say just see ya. But from Castle Wolfenstein, fuck off.